this past weekend. Let's connect that boom boom. All right. Oh, yeah. Thank you guys. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, August 28th. The year 2017.
Celebrate living.
A lot of years, huh?
Celebrate misery.
A lot of years in the books.
You know that soon
This one's coming in hot.
we'll die.
It's coming in hot, boy. And it's coming in
Let's
wet.
have some fun while we all die.
It's coming in wet. We're celebrating dark days right now. It's what we're trying to do. I just want to send some love and some light and some thoughts and prayers out to everybody that's affected by Hurricane Harvey. You know, and they make it sound so nice, Harvey. You know, oh, what's Harvey going to do? You know, oh, Harvey don't ever do nothing. You know, they make it sound like a you know, a fella in the neighborhood that, you know, still lives with his parents. Oh, Harvey, you know, collecting bottle caps and doing that. You know, Harvey opened up his own window washing business and they went out of business, you know. Friggin' Harvey, stealing all the Christmas candies. But then that's not what it is, you know, and it shows up and it's more violent a lot of times than its name. And my thoughts and feelings and everything go out to those people in Texas that are struggling. Or if you have family members down there in Houston, you can make a donation. You can text Harvey, Harvey, to 9099, and that'll make a $10 donation. You can also, I believe, to the Red Cross. You can also look online, J.J. Watt, who is just a volatile, beautiful, you know, capable caveman from the NFL, from the National Football League, has started a fundraising program. You can look it up online and you can donate there as well. But I'm happy to be here with you guys today. You know, that rain comes in and it's heavy. That rain comes in and it's heavy. And if you're dry today and you're able to drive down your street or get out of your home, you know, for you, that's probably, you know, you're probably doing better than a lot of people. You know, a lot of people down there struggling, and I'm going to find some other ways that I can donate. But thank you guys for being here with me today. I remember when I was young, I was a heavy sleeper. I was a heavy sleeper, man. I mean, I would dream that I was sleeping. And that's when you're dreaming that you are asleep. You know, that's heavy. That's double sleep. You know, you're under two realms of brain peace. And so that's where I was at. And I remember one time I fell asleep and a lot of rains came because I grew up in Louisiana and a lot of rains would come. And one time the baseboards or whatever, the thing was rotten at our place, and the water came in while I was resting. And I remember it getting all on the floor an inch or two, and I'd been resting in my mother's room. And she had a package of, I guess, you know, I don't know how to say this appropriately, but feminine care sticks. You know, those feminine care sticks that women use. And that some men might even use. I don't even know what's going on these days, but you know, these feminine care sticks, and that were still in the packages, and they had gotten, you know, a box of them had gotten caught in the water or whatever, and they were floating all around the room, and they had a bunch of a sack of marshmallows, because sometimes I'd have me a little bit of marshmallows, you know, before I go to bed, or just I'd keep a sack by my bed sometimes, and they had a sack of marshmallows that had, you know, the water had opened up. And there was just all these feminine care sticks and marshmallows kind of floating around the room. And they had the neighbor's cat was over and was kind of kicking these feminine care sticks around the water. And it was wild because I was so scared, but here this cat was finding so much joy, you know, snacking on these marshmallows and kicking around these feminine care products around this little lake that had formed in our home. So, you know, what I'm just saying is sometimes you just, even though it's tough, you know, find those bright moments, you know, even when the rains, when the water gets deep. I texted a friend in Houston to check on him, see how he was doing, and he sent me back a picture of this Cajun Navy, and that's people that have these airboats that are able to get out into neighborhoods and help people out, and you see a lot of it. I mean, it's just that's a neighborhood Dunkirk right there. That's neighborhood Dunkirk flaring up. You know, when you got a fella just showing up at your doorstep, you know, bringing you pizza or, you know, cold water or phone charging, whatever. I mean, and it's beautiful to see people helping each other out. But he sent me a video of in his own neighborhood, you know, of a boat going by. It was pretty, just interesting to see, you know, something you normally wouldn't see in a neighborhood. You know, you don't see a lot of boats on streets. So that was interesting, man, and I appreciate him sending that in. But my thoughts and prayers and well wishes go out to all those people struggling down there in Texas. And I'm looking forward to making more donations as those opportunities arise. But Harvey, you know, they name it Harvey, and that's what I don't like about some of these storms. You know, because if you as a senior citizen, you sitting there, and you hear, oh, Harvey's coming. You know, what's Harvey? He's harmless. You know, Harvey sounds like that boy in the neighborhood that never really got it together. You know, that maybe that boy that had he had a flick of autism in his brain or something light. You know, he still lived with his parents and he was always, you know, doing small businesses, pressure washing or, you know, painting. People in the neighborhood would hire him to paint stuff that didn't need to be painted just so Harvey could get him a little bit of pocket money. You know, or Harvey would always be, you know, that, you know, Harvey never got it together. You know, he's still living in his parents' basement in his 30s. You know, and you don't invite him to the Christmas party because he steals all the Christmas candy. And they give it a name like that, Harvey, that sounds like it could be a miscreant or a door-to-door salesman. But then it shows up and it's violent. And sometimes I wish they would start giving these storms names that showed who they were, you know? You know, here comes Manson. You know, here comes Ray Lewis. You know, what about that? Here comes Ron Artest is coming out. You know, see who we got. You know, this Timothy McVeigh, this storm. You know, give him something that at least is going to put, if you're a senior and you hear Harvey's coming, you might not be as aware. You might not hide the cat on top of the cupboard. But if you hear that, you know, that Lee Harvey Oswald is showing up, you know, you might make some different adjustments in your home. So it's just alarming. You know, and it's sad, and I'm not trying to make light of the scenario that people are dealing with, but I've been through some water times, and they're really tough. But it's amazing to see if you can find them, and you can find the joy to see, you know, what people are doing to help each other out. And when we're far away, instead of pointing fingers and thinking about this or that, what we can do is to donate. You know, because money helps. Money helps at all. Thank you guys for joining me on this Monday, August 28th, 2017. You know, it's crazy to see winter is coming. You know, winter is coming. And Mother Nature, you know, she lifting her dress up and she got a cold crotch. And we're about to see some of that wrath show up. You know, and people talk about these, you know, the climate change and the warming and this and that. And who knows, you know, how much that's affecting us at this point exactly in certain areas. You know, I was in Canada, in Vancouver this weekend, and there were some drunk girls who were all fired up about global warming. Saying, we want beaches, you know. We sick of the winters. We want beaches out here. And it's like, well, look, you can't have beaches just so everybody else can suffer in the world. But outside of that, I was in Canada this weekend. I had a good time. I went up to Vancouver. We had a fantasy football draft, a destination draft. So every year, my fantasy football league, one of them, we do a destination draft. We pick a city, and we all fly in, and we meet up, and we do our draft. We've done some, you know, we've done Austin, we've done Chicago, New York, where else? New Orleans, Los Angeles, San Diego, some other places, Miami. And we hit up Vancouver. And Vancouver's the kind of city, it's a small city. I mean, you can almost walk everywhere. And you kind of feel like you're just waiting for the city to get going. That's what I kind of felt like. You know, it's a small city, very friendliest people. I mean, friendly men and women. If you're talking to men or women, it just, there's a nice vibe in there. You don't feel like anybody's putting on airs or trying to be too cool for school. You don't feel as much pomp and circumstance as you do here, specifically in Los Angeles, you know, where you go to a bar, to a night event, and everybody's trying to be that fancy cat. You know, everybody trying to get you to, you know, smell their breath to let you know that they had the best tuna that night. You know, they trying to get you to take a hit off that albacore off their tongue. But you don't feel that up in Vancouver. It just felt like a good vibe, friendly people, kindness. Everywhere. You know, you stop and ask somebody for directions, they take you there. I mean, We asked for directions to this beach and somebody just took us there. I mean, it was a couple of miles. It was 15 minutes, but it was a captivating little city. You're just kind of waiting for the city to get going. You keep feeling like, oh, there should be more of an energy or a bustle, but people there are just more at peace. And I've always thought Canada was a very peaceful place, but I was, and New York's kind of gotten that way. New York, it's gotten so, I don't want to say gentrified, because I don't know if gentrified just means white, but whatever the financial version of gentrified would be. It's gotten so greenified, moneyfied, that in New York, you don't even get mugged anymore. You got to go up to, north of Harlem to even get mugged. In New York, it's like you walk around these days and it's just it's just a bunch of business people. It's people with money. You almost have to ask somebody to, fuck you up a little, stab me a little or something, or just, call me a pervert and, hit me in the back of the knees with a broomstick. If you want to get that vibe that, that New Yorkie, mug me, I want to feel something. I want to feel like I'm in the city. And you can't get that in New York proper anymore. In Vancouver, you're just kind of waiting for it to pick up, but it's just a peaceful city. There's just peace going on. We had a nice time, though. We had a great fantasy draft there. We went out to this place called Kitts Beach. They have a beach, and it's like right on the edge of the city, and there's people out there just enjoying themselves. It almost looks like you're in heaven. I mean, it's extremely multicultural, and you're out there, and everybody's just enjoying themselves. Everybody seems to be having a good time. It definitely seems like like kind of the heaven you would picture in your brain. There's mountains in the background, and there's skyscrapers, and even the homeless people seem to be on the uptick. Like they can still at least remember the homes they had. They can at least still remember maybe a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that they used to spend time in. You see the homeless people in America, they're, it's just like they just been, boiling soup in their own eye sockets. Half of them don't, like they've been gargling their own bile. The homeless people here, they're tattered. They've been through the ringer. They've been through they've been caught up in the dark arts for too long. They don't even remember how to use a faucet. A lot of them, you take them by a sink and they just, they'll urinate or just jerk off into it. But you don't see that up in Canada. You see people, even the homeless people, they're ready for homes again. They know they're not going to be homeless forever. Hell, half of them probably just camping. I mean, these people love the outdoors, and it's summertime. But if you get a chance to go to Vancouver, you want a nice getaway for you and your lady. The nightlife was pretty chill. It was chill nightlife, which for me these days is good, I'm not out there trying to find erroneous, female tits and doing cocaine out of people's buttocks and all that. I'm trying to be more relaxed, and so we had a nice time. But a good fantasy draft. I got a good team. One of my buddies lost his mind, and I hadn't seen this in a while. One of my buddies, the 3 guys went and they got themselves a chocolate bar from one of these marijuana outlets. And the marijuana these days, when I was young, that marijuana, it was just that brown, that dirt, I mean, hell, this shit, half of it was pine. That was one of the flavors. It was pine. I mean, this shit, somebody could have just cut it in their front yard earlier that day, the stuff you were buying when I was a kid. And you'd smoke it in the dark. You had no clue what it was. And half the time you didn't even get fucked up. You just acted fucked up. And that was that marijuana back then. But now these kids, these young buckaroos, they're hitting on this stuff. It's like Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This stuff will take you to Narnia. This stuff will have you fall out of the back of your own brain closet into the next realm. And they had a guy in our league who said he had smoked weed a long time ago. I think he was still trying to live a little and catch that vibe. And he ate a little bit of chocolate, dude. He started geeking. He started getting lifted. You could almost hear his brain stem just detaching from his spine. This dude was just a human balloon just floating around the room. He had to start marching. He started marching, took his shirt off. Dude, fucked up people like to take their shirts off, huh? Because they got to get out that cage, boy. Let me out this cotton cage. I'm fucked up. This polyester can't hold me. This dude was lifted and gifted. He was feeling that vibe, dude. He could feel the vultures just start to playing tug of war with his cerebellum. And he was getting lifted, dude. And he's not like that kind of guy. He even texted, he even sent the group text. We're all sitting there in the room. He sends the group text a text saying, I'm having severe adverse reactions from marijuana at this moment. And he said he did that just so he would have documentation of it. Like, this dude's like a research kind of guy, he likes that documentation. But man, he had his shirt off. He had us call him the place where he bought the chocolate bar. He only had one square. And he got bent. He got bent out, boy. He got bent out. He was catching levels. He was on that third, fourth level, dude. He was hitting warp zones. He was fighting Bowser in his brain. He started marching around the room in a circle. The room made a full circle where you could go into the bedroom and then come out through the bathroom back into the living room in this hotel room. And he hit that circle. I mean, he was out there like Usain Bolton on that voltage, boy, on that plantography, on that garden that was just growing up through his soul, that weed. And that shit was powerful to watch, dude. We had to pray with him. We had to do a prayer circle. This dude, we bought him a bunch of orange juice. We had him in the shower. He was marching in the shower. So anyway, we got to dinner late. That night. But we did our fantasy draft. We had a good time in Vancouver. I would recommend Vancouver. It's not as crazy nightlife as you would think, but some great hiking, extremely wonderful people. I met a lot of fans just being out and about. Had some great seafood. And just a fun, safe place. If you want to get out to a vibe. I mean, I felt like I could have slept on the concrete out front, and I would have woke up and somebody would have probably put a couple of blankets over me and maybe even put eardrums in my ears to make sure that something didn't wake me up. It was that kind of environment where people just seemed like they were helping each other out. But we watched the fight. Man, I don't know if you watched the fight or not. Man, it was good, huh? It was interesting. I mean, right out of the gate, I was thinking, did you see the referee? The referee looked like, first of all, it looked like he was just talking to Conor, but I guess maybe the rules need to be readdressed to him because it's, boxing, straight boxing isn't his deal. But the referee looked like every Greyhound bus driver I've ever had. I don't know if you saw that gentleman or not, that beautiful. And he had that booty, like that DS booty. He had that Down syndrome booty. And a lot of, some of you guys know one of my better friends growing up, Derry, had DS and Down syndrome, popular disease. And he had it, and he was, we used to eat sandwiches and stuff and do a little bit of, light ghost hunting and stuff like that by the Ramada when I was growing up. But man, this referee looked like every Greyhound bus driver. So out of the gate, I was like, I'm into this thing. This fight feels already familiar. It was exciting, man. It was exciting. The ring girls looking lovely. And at first I felt so nervous. I don't know if anybody else felt that, but for the first, the first 2 rounds, I was so nervous. And I can't even feel why. When I think back, why do I feel this way? I think I was just nervous because, McGregor seemed so out of his element. Even his stance and everything, it was just, he looked so vulnerable to me. And I don't know a ton about boxing. I don't know a ton about fighting. I know that both these guys are masters in their universes. But it made me nervous, man. I was nervous for him, the first 2 rounds. And then after a while, I just felt like you could see the flaws they were natural flaws in Conor's. He didn't have any finishing moves. He didn't have that Hayukin. He didn't have that power. He didn't have that power play. He had just a lot of these straight punches, and I was just like, where's that finishing move? At one point, I'm just like, throw a kick, daddy. Throw a knee burst. But he didn't have a finishing move, and that kind of, I feel like, made it a little bit tough. And I wish that, I know at the end of the fight, he said, I wish they would have let us go to the mat where one of us fell, one of us hit the dirt. And I think at the time he probably thought that. But this morning, I bet that he was probably glad that it didn't happen that way. That it didn't go down like that it ended how it did. I mean, it's really interesting to see. I hope, I want him to fight somebody else next. Andy Dick, who else could he fight? A-Rod, I'd love to see him take on A-Rod. I'd love to see him honestly beat Chris Paul's ass. If he go in against Chris Paul, I'd love to see, or Martina Navratilova. Some of these people that want to be young gunners and get in there. But we'll see, man. It was exciting. I wonder if maybe in the original agreement, if he would have asked for an MMA referee. That was something I was thinking, like, would he have rather like an MMA referee who maybe, might have at least been able to judge and referee the fight a little bit more, not to his liking, but in a comfortable manner. I feel like it would have made it a little bit more fair. I mean, it was heavily favored to Floyd whenever you were looking at it. Like, even when I first came on, I was like, wow, okay, this is boxing. This isn't MMA at all. I mean, this is boxing, and you really saw somebody step outside of their comfort zone. I mean, it's really inspiring. You saw they had a lot of videos and stuff of these guys doing the after party and really having a good time, man. But yeah, I mean, I was nervous. It was exciting to watch, but it was inspiring. I was like, man, mate, I want to work out hard. I want to do something. I want to step outside of my comfort zone. I want to be a baker. You know what I'm saying? I want to challenge, I want to challenge a motherfucker on some donut level. Maybe want to step outside of my comfort zone. I want to wake up and in 4 months, I want to go, toe to toe with an archaeologist. Bitch, where are these bones? I'm out here. Oh, you digging? I'm digging. You could shovel, I could shovel. It made me want to kind of change up and feel inspired. And then this morning, I just, pretty much that a little bit of that left me. Because, inspiration, man, that stuff you have to be reminded. Man, I wish you could have inspiration like an IV, a drip bag of inspiration. That's what I need a lot of times. Because I will feel inspired, and then it will go away. It will go away. But good to be here with you guys. Hope you guys had a happy weekend. I was in Vancouver. I flew back this morning. Had a couple of sets tonight at the Comedy Store and at the Hollywood Improv. And I'm so happy to be here on this past weekend. I have an announcement to make, too. A couple of them. One, we got a new set. It's coming along. You can go to YouTube whenever the podcast comes out on YouTube, which is Monday evening or Tuesday morning. And you can check it out. You can let me know what you think. Also, this week, we're going to launch our Patreon account. That's Patreon/Theo Von, TheoVon. And it's just to support the podcast directly. We've had some advertisers come on and people have reached out and said, look, man, I just would love to support the podcast directly. And personally, I want to continue improving the show. I love doing this show. I'm so grateful for this experience. I want you guys to know that. I was nervous when I started out, and I'm still nervous. I'm nervous a little bit every time I get on here and start, sharing, and I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, if I'm sharing too much or not sharing enough. But I do feel like, like together that we're doing something good. We're on to something good, and I want to take it to the top, and I want to include some options online where people can, become more involved, and that where we can work more together. And so that's what the Patreon will be. And we hope to have that launched on Wednesday, so you guys can check that out if you so choose. No pressure. No matter what, you will always have this past weekend on your Monday mornings. All right, and I want to let you guys know some dates. We have September 6th through 9th. That's next weekend. I'll be at Cap City in Austin. If you have friends or family in Austin, tell them to come on out. September 14th through 17th, I'll be at Hilarities in Cleveland. And then November 17th through 19th, I'll be at Stand Up Live in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm excited about all of those things. Feeling pretty excited, man. I felt a little bit nervous tonight before I started. Sometimes I guess I get a little nervous. I get a little bit nervous of what the vibe is and what you guys want to hear, what I want to talk about. And I just appreciate you guys being supportive and sticking with me. We got a lot of great calls that came in. And I want to just get right into them, man. Some of them are really, really interesting. So let's crack in to the hotline calls right now. The number is 985-664-9503. If you're down in Texas and you had an experience from the rain, where you saw something go on that you thought was pretty remarkable, I'd love to hear a little bit about that. That's one of the things you can hit the hotline with. As well, if you're just going through something and you want to share it, you can hit the hotline with that. Anything that if I've been through it as well, I'm happy to share. I don't have advice, but I do have suggestions, and I do have my own experiences so that we don't have to feel alone. All right, let's check in with this first call right here.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This is Tim from Tennessee.
All right, Tim from Tennessee. I can hear that. I can hear that jingle in your jungle, man, in your neck instrument. That V-box, baby. I can hear you spouting off that sweet Southern. You know, you got that molasses in your sound canal. Let's hear more.
I'm calling about an issue I have. So I have this cousin who's trying to be a rapper, a Christian rapper, actually. You know.
Woo! He's got a cousin trying to be a Christian rapper, man. That's wild, baby. You know?
You know, it's whatever. I don't really like Christian rap. It's all pretty much terrible, but if that's what, you know, people get a hold of that and it helps them, you know, go for it. But the problem is that he's terrible, you know.
Wow. The problem is that he's terrible, man. He dropping hymns and spinning rims, baby. You know what I'm saying? He's caught up in that CR, son, that Christian rap. Having babies with virgin ladies. Parting seas and Negro, please. Y'all turning up out there in that Bible Belt. He's dropping it off, huh? And you think he's terrible. Well, look, I feel you, man. I have friends that have thought that I think are terrible at stuff that do things, you know? And I'm going to stop you right there, but I'm guessing that you're just wondering how to handle it. And here's what I say. What do you lose by him giving it a shot? You know, he's going to go as far as he's going to go with it. You know, he could be great. There were times for years when I was not good at comedy. And if somebody would have really said that to me, I might not have kept going. And I'm not saying that I'm great today, but I'm saying today that I can do my job. And I can say that I do my job well. But, you know, you just can't take away his hope. So I think if you can offer, you know, if you have constructive suggestions, fire him at him. Because, dude, I mean, this guy's getting into a crazy game. I mean, I know there are some Christian rappers that are popular. I think most of them are black, so it'd probably be good to see some, you know, some diversity in the market could be good. I'd love it if actually you could hit the hotline and drop one of his tracks in. Maybe we could even start one of the podcasts off with it next week. So if you have the ability to do that, or you can email it to me at theovon, TheoVon, at mac.com. But I appreciate you calling and saying this, you know. And you got to think that Jesus balled out, you know. I mean, he was a rapper in a way. If you want to think, whether you think about him as the savior, or you think about him just as a human being. I mean, that dude was, you know, spitting in the desert. Jesus was dropping lyrics in the desert. It's hard to even keep moisture in your mouth in the desert. So at the very least, boy, he was a Eminem, if you feel me. It's hard to even keep your tongue wet in the desert. And he was roaming around, dropping tracks, dude. You know, so, I mean, there's some respect there, you know. I mean, that's real stuff. So I just support his ability to try something different. Try not to be too hard on him. Buy him some gold teeth. You know, maybe make it something that you enjoy. You know, buy him some gold teeth, like, you know, 5 gold teeth and spell out, you know, HYMNS. And put that hymns in his grin. You know, or get him a gold necklace with 3 nails on it. You know, it's hard sometimes with family, you know, to support them. Because for some reason, family, when they do some shit, it will drive you way more crazy than when friends do. You know, I mean, my sister she did one of those things on Facebook one time where it's like, I'm going to say something I'm thankful for the next 700 days. And man, I wanted to speak up. I wanted to say, I feel like that's crazy, but it doesn't matter what I feel, you know? So I'd find a way to embrace it. You know, maybe get a tattoo on your back of him fucking dropping mad tracks. You know? The Lamb, boy. The Lamb of Jeezy, boy. You know, he's spitting straight fire wool. You know? So, see what you can do there, man, to support him. Just don't take away his hope. I think you can offer him some suggestions if you feel like it, or ask him if you want suggestions. But don't fire him off and take away his hope. Maybe see if you could be a background singer. That shit would be hilarious. Because then you're embracing it. You're part of it. So I'd find a way to embrace it. If my brother came to me and said he wanted to be a Christian rapper, dude, I would gain about 150 pounds and put on a dress that them thick girls, them girls that got them, they got them bassists. You know, they got that deep throat, you know, where they can gargle different sounds down there. You know, and I would put on a big robe and I would support my brother. I'd be hitting them back round. Jesus. We out in this motherfucking desert. Dang, 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 dang. 3 days later, I'm back. Easter. Play that back up, baby. You can help him out. Good luck with it. Thanks for calling. Onward, next caller.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This is Josh. I'm out here in Charlotte, North Cackalack.
Josh in Charlotte, North Kakalaka. That's North Carolina, for those of you guys who don't know. Josh, thank you for calling.
Like to see you come down to the Comedy Zone here in Charlotte. That'd be cool to see you, man.
I've been there before to Charlotte, and the only time I was there for at the Comedy Zone. I had a good time. I'll be back next year. I don't know the dates, but I saw Cam Newton. I was there for 40 minutes. I'd been in town. I'm sitting on the outdoor patio of a McCormick and Schmick's, having me a little salad. And Cam Newton went by with a baby carriage, pushing his son. He had a newborn, or it had been, a few months old, and he's pushing his son in a baby carriage. And at first I thought it was a homeless guy because he was, you don't see a lot of adult men at all just pushing a baby carriage by themselves down the street. And you also don't see a lot of adult black men, at least I'm not used to seeing that, pushing a baby carriage down the street. And he had on this, kind of a Gucci hat and a scarf. And I'm like, dang, this dude might be homeless. But then he got closer and I was like, holy shit, this dude is Cam Newton. So you never know, man. You never know when a homeless person might be Cam Newton. You never know when you might be surprised. Onward.
Just want to get some advice from you if you could help me with something. Started dating this girl, and she's a bit of a squirter.
Oh, okay. So you hitting them waterworks, baby. You passing, I don't know if it's Baltic Avenue or Marvin Gardens, and you hitting them waterworks with the ladies. Okay. This is kind of an edgy topic, but we're going to try to field it here. Thank you for calling. Onward.
I always thought that was cool at first, especially when I'd see it like in some pornography or something, but...
Yeah, them sprayers, them gunners. Remind you of going to the fair when you play that game, you're trying to shoot that thing and get that animal from that old man. And that dude usually probably look like he has some kind of a skin cancer or lung cancer. But Onward, I know what you're talking about.
Man, after a while, it's just getting, I don't know, man. I have to change the sheets all the time. I'm going to the store to get detergent. And these people are probably like, this dude's got a lot of clothes or something,
Yeah, with detergent, and also buying detergent, a lot of people think you might be cooking it down and doing some kind of new dope. And that's one of the issues I run because I've at times in the past, I had me a little bit of an Afrin habit. I get that Afrin, and I use the suggested dose. Now, I'm not riding outside of my suggested dose circles. But, man, sometime coming around 11 o'clock, dude, my hands start fiending for a hit off that Afrin. For a hit to, get my nasal passages sedated. But, yeah, I can feel you, man. So you're dealing with a lot of extra laundry because you got Old Faithful in the bedroom. Onward.
But I don't know if you can give me any advice on that, man. It's just a mess, man. And I really like the girl too. But all right, man. Have a good one.
It's interesting, man, because I met a girl years ago she'd moved to town. She dated one of the Jonas brothers. I don't know which one. There's 3 of them. I think they all damn look the same. Beautiful young men. From what I remember, I never looked at them very closely. But this gal, she was really, she had that extra plumbing. And some girls, they just got that wild piping where they be spraying out a little. And yeah, at first you're like, oh, this is a party. Daddy's here, I'll do it. I'll wash dishes down between this gal's legs, But then after a while, that ain't no joke. It's a liability, unless they're, putting extra use to some of that activity, like they're watering plants or, refilling the fish bowl. It can be a bit overwhelming at times. So I don't know what you do because you don't want to make her feel bad because this is a natural thing. And look, we all have things naturally about us that our loved one or our spouse doesn't like. It could be that you clear your throat or you pick your nose while you drive or that you have a lot of body gas. And sometimes if I don't sleep well, I'll get a little extra body gas. So, I know that I can be, I have things about myself. But maybe find some other ways you guys can be sensual without hitting that gasm, without, Hurricane Harvey stopping by y'all's bedroom every night, because that can be wild, so maybe talk to her about it, see how she feels, because otherwise you got to keep a stack of towels there in the bedroom and you got to really sound off. Otherwise, other than that, I'd say make it fun. Put a couple of barrels. They used to have this thing, little buckets. They used to have this show called the Bozo Show or something, where if you got a thing you threw these balls, if you got it in a bucket, you got you a Subway sandwich. And they'd have children on there. And this might have just been locally, but they had this guy, Bozo the Clown or somebody, the grand prize game. You throw these ping pong balls at these buckets. If you got it out to the 5 bucket, then you got you maybe a Subway sandwich for your whole classroom of children. So maybe do that. Maybe make something fun or cute about it. Or just make 2 nights a week where y'all do sex, and that's the activity night. And this, show up prepared. Put floaties on. Be a baller. You know what I'm saying, dude? Get that Michael Phelps neck piece. Do something, But I think instead of, if you want to keep her and you do care about her, then you're going to have to find a way to make it comfortable for you. And to not talk to her about it in a way that makes it uncomfortable for her. Man, it's a tough one. That is a tough one, man. And if somebody out there has good advice for this gentleman, about his damp damsel, if we will, then hit the hotline and let him know. And I'll try to do a follow-up episode this week where other people can give you some return advice about that damp damsel and how to handle that. But yeah, it's interesting because the things you see in pornography, man, you get those things in real life, dude. It's not the same thing. If like you got a girl out there, they had this one thing, years ago, some girl was eating, she could eat donut holes with her hoo-ha. And yeah, that's great. That's cool on a brunch, maybe a Sunday brunch, you partying with your new girlfriend, and you having you a little bit of fruit or some, a yogurt, and she hiding donuts, she calorying up. But dude, come, a couple months of that, you having to run to the store all the time and get donuts and shit, that shit's crazy. And what if her hoo-ha starts to upscale and that thing wants a Butterfinger or a Payday, or $100,000 or $1,000? That thing starts hiding whatchamacallits and almond joys in its cheeks. Dude, then you're talking the dark arts. So the things you see in pornography, sometimes they can escalate when you get them in real life. But I would approach it in a way, if you do talk about it with her, in a way that's comfortable for her. Because you just don't want to make her feel bad, because once she starts feeling bad about her body, that's going to be uncomfortable for everybody, man. But good luck, man. I appreciate you calling in about it, brother. Whoo! You partying out there, dude. Wherever you are, North Kakalaka, they partying. All right, next caller. Onward.
What's up, buddy? This is Nathan from Kansas City.
This is Nathan from Kansas City. I just picked your defense in my fantasy football league. I hope they do well. Onward, Nathan.
I just had a quick question for you, man. I grew up with two real good friends of mine, and we're kind of slowly drifting apart. And I believe that they're actually pretty upset with me. Now, I'm not sure what it is that they're upset about, but I would like to sit down man to man and kind of talk it out. And
okay, so you grew up with 2 good friends, and they're really upset at you, but you're not sure what they're upset about. And you'd like to sit down man to man and talk it out. That's what we got so far. Onward.
And they don't answer the phone. They don't respond to text messages. So I'm kind of at a loss at what to do. And I'm hoping maybe you could help me out with some advice on this subject here, man. Love the show.
All right, thanks for calling, man. Love the show, man. I appreciate you enjoying it. And I love you, brother. I want you to feel good about this, dude. But it sounds like they're upset. They're calling you. They're upset, but you don't know about what. And I don't want to say I don't believe you, man, but you got to have some inkling. If they're upset, but you're not sure about what, you probably got to have some inkling. And if they don't want to respond to you right now, then obviously if it's 2 of them, they must be really upset about it. So, I think there's 2 things here. One, I would just give them some space. Maybe they're moving along. Maybe you guys don't even need each other. Maybe this friendship has run its course. Or 2, it sounds like there's a little more to the story. I would own up to whatever happened and go see them face to face and own up 100%. And I wouldn't own up with a but, look, man, this happened, but I felt this way. I'd leave the but off of it. I would show up, own up to whatever you did personally, and don't ask for if you want continued friendship, then say, look, bruh, I want to still be friends. I want to still be buddies. I want to still split Kit Kats together. I want to still, sit around and hide dip in our mouths together and do friendship. I want to still sit in a room and have your body heat be in the distance. If you still want those things, then let them know that. But you're also going to have to probably, if there was something you did, you're going to have to apologize to it. I'd do it man to man. I wouldn't hit the phone lines. I would do it man to man, and I wouldn't say any buts. I would just apologize and let them know, look, I'd still like to be friends. Adult friendship, dude, this shit's tricky out here. Because adults, they get busy. Sometimes their wives don't want them hanging out with other adults. People start getting, jealousy happens. You get a new house, but your buddy don't have a house yet. And he's still out there in an apartment. Jealousy happens, Your buddy loses his leg and you still got 2 legs. And next thing you know, he don't want to talk to you. Because he think you're showing off by having 2 legs. That's crazy. But adulthood friendship is hard. And that's one thing that was fascinating about young friendship. To be friends when you were young, all it was proximity usually. It's like your best friends, still to this day even, were just usually people that lived near you. That was it. It's not like there was this big friend search where you interviewed thousands of other children when you were a child. It was just who's nearby. Oh, they are? Boom, boom, friendship. It's like a lot of it's just proximity based. So, if you value their friendship, then I would make it a man-to-man apology. I wouldn't try it on the phone. I appreciate you calling up. Let's hit another call here. We're cruising through some calls, man. And I appreciate you guys calling and hitting the hotline, 985-664-9503. I'm feeling good. I'm trying to get through this. It's 12:45 a.m. here on the Pacific Coast time. I got a cool week coming up. We have David Allen Greer coming in on our podcast for Allegedly. Spencer Pratt as well. That episode will be airing this week, I believe, on Allegedly. That's my Hollywood podcast. You can check it out with my wonderful co-host, Matthew Cole Weiss. And we have, who else is coming in? It's rumored that Chris Hansen's supposed to be coming on. So that could be really, really exciting. All right, let's take another call. Here we go. All right, let's take another call. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, this is Cody calling from Boulder, Colorado again.
This is Cody from Boulder, Colorado. You up there in the country up there where everybody's eating drugs and stuff up there in the mountains. Thank you for calling.
First off, I want to thank you for taking my last call about texting and phone culture. I really enjoyed your poo in the meat Taco Bell story.
Yeah, it's a true story, and everybody uses that there was feces in the meat in their Taco Bell in their town, but this really happened in my hometown. When I was growing up. It really, really happened, and it was alarming, but we made it through it as a community. And it's amazing sometimes what community can overcome together. Let's hear more.
And when you said, I don't know if we can go back related to texting, that really kind of made me think about some shit. The reason I'm calling this time is about love. I feel like you don't really talk about that other than like guys trying to blow you. That's really the only thing we've heard. Specifically, I want to talk about monogamy and polygamy. From where I'm at in Boulder, and I know in like San Francisco, polygamy is real big.
Okay, so from Boulder, he's saying that he wants to talk about love. He's asking me, I don't talk about love that much, except for if fellas is trying to blow me or run my pole. If they're trying to run my pole with the inside of their face. And that is probably in reference to when Andy Dick tried to blow me a few times over there in Shreveport, Louisiana. But onward, I'll hear the rest of this.
From where I'm at in Boulder, and I know in like San Francisco, polygamy is real big. And personally, I'm just not sure that I can marry the same person for 40 plus years or whatever. So yeah, just curious your thoughts on that. Thanks again for doing what you do, man. You're a freaking legend. Peace.
I appreciate your call, man. I appreciate your previous call, and I appreciate this one. I really do. I appreciate everybody that takes time to call in and help, because this show goes. It goes because you guys call, My brain, I'm short. I've always had a short, kind of a short brain. I remember they did a CAT scan on me, and the man said, "You got a short brain." And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I got angry with him, even though I was just wearing just that one piece in the hospital where the back is open, where anybody could fuck you, which is really, I think, very scary to put on somebody when they're already alarmed and they're in a hospital. I mean, I say put them in a full damn ski outfit, but, they want to put you in that thing to scare you even more. And the man said, "You got a short brain." He goes, the width of your brain from the bottom to the top is not very tall. He goes, "You got a short brain." But that doesn't surprise me. I've always had, a lot of medical deficiencies or abnormalities. My father told me when I was young that I had the heart of a lesbian. And the man told me, one of the doctors told me when I was a child that that I had the rib cage of a large cat. Probably, I'm thinking mountain, some sort of a mountain cat. Probably something you would see up in Boulder, maybe. But anyhow, we're talking monogamy and polygamy, or monogamy. And can you do it? What's it like these days? I think I wouldn't be surprised if we get more towards a culture where, where marriage isn't as necessary. And I hate to say it because I want to see, I love the family unit. And it's statistically proven across the board that children survive and thrive better when they have two parents in the home. And that's a statistic for every ethnicity. Go look it up. Every ethnicity. And so but it's like, is that what's popular right now? Is that what's going on? And I don't know. It scares me too, to think, I mean, I've been talking to a gal, and I was just talking to her about, how that makes me feel very nervous. And I think part of the nervous thing about being with somebody forever is just the propensity for you to be able to mess up, to cheat, or to lie, or to not be a good husband, and that's the scary part, I think, of monogamy these days. Is man built to be able to withstand all this constant barrage with the pornography and the Instagram and the titties wandering by? I mean, you open your eye. If you even open your eyes outside, it's like everything has titties on it now. When you start to see them, and it's just there's just a lot of breastwork out there that there wasn't, I think, years ago. Our grandfather, only time he saw some other breasts, maybe if he went to the store, or if he even held a soft melon back in the day. If you probably in the 1930s, if he even held a soft melon, that's the only time he really thought of somebody outside of his marriage. When he was checking melons, when he was considering buying fruit, I mean, that used to be the old playboy, probably pulling up to a fruit stand and feeling the different, the plums and the different, honeydews out there, and just feeling their softness. I mean, goddamn, you put a C-cup avocado in each one of my hands, and my penis will mount up on top of my nuts, and it will be erect. So it's wild to think that back in the day that's the only stimulation that they had. When I was young, you had the pornography magazines, but you also, a lot of people, I think, in our neighborhood were drawing pictures of vaginas in the dirt. And I don't know if it was just in our neighborhood, even around town, there was a group, or maybe just one person, and an artist, I guess you could even call him an artist, or somebody that was trying to do graffiti but didn't have any paint. And they would just be drawing pictures of vaginas in the dirt, and you'd be wandering around town and just see a vagina in the dirt. And that would always be a little bit crazy, to see that, and that would make you feel erect and stuff, and you never knew when you were going to see that. But nowadays, yeah, it's like, it's hard to just conserve your sexual energy for one person because there's so many things trying to take it from you nowadays. Polygamy, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it'd be great, of course, to maybe have a change of pace in your life. But you got to be a great multitasker. Would it be good for the kids? I don't know enough about it, what the effect of polygamy has on children, when you get dad 2 or 3 nights a week, when you got your different types of wives. And I mean, I feel sometimes like I have enough love inside of me to be able to maybe live in that environment. But is that practical? I don't know. I don't know, man. And I don't talk a lot about my past endeavors, man. I mean, I've had a lot of sexuality over the years. You know, some good and some bad. And I don't really even like sex that much. I'm not real keen on it. You know, people banging their bodies into each other. You know, it's just, sometimes it just gets old a little bit. And maybe that's a dour look at sex. And maybe I need to, you know, have my chi, you know, reconfigured. You know, I need to take my chi into the chi shop, you know, and remodel my chi. But that's just how I feel sometimes, you know, that after a certain point, also, it's just got to be about more than that to have that connection. But it's a great, you know, I don't think there's a man, you know, every man thinks about it for sure about polygamy. You know, I think it's natural. They say it's natural to want to mount up and do love and do sex on others. They say it's natural. So it's a fight you're in. If you're staying monogamous and you're in a one-on-one relationship, if you've been in a long-term relationship and you've stayed true in it, I'd love to hear some of what that feels like. What some of those values are. What are the prizes there that you get emotionally for yourself? What does that feel like, men, if you're out there? You know, or ladies. A lot of these ladies be running around these days, slanging that canal. It's wild out there. It's definitely wild. How are we getting on time here, man? I think we're getting a little bit along. I'm actually going to, let's take one more call here and see what's happening, man. I want to say this. We got a caller right here.
What's up, Theo? Hello, Louisiana boy, calling in here from Shreveport, LA.
Shreveport, Louisiana. That's Randy Dick tried to break me off with them tongue and jowls, you know, on my biddles. Onward.
Just calling with some problems that I'm currently having. I graduated high school 2 years ago.
Congratulations. If you graduated high school in Louisiana, congratulations, brother. Not easy for a lot of people, and I appreciate you calling tonight, man. Thank you. Onward.
Currently 20 years old. Just been having some problems with excessive pornography use, lack of motivation to go out and get girls. I had a few girlfriends in high school, and every time I get the opportunity to go hang out with a girl or whatever, I always talk myself out of it, whether it's, you know, kind of insecurity or lack of confidence.
All right, I appreciate this, man. I mean, you know, this is an issue that I've struggled with over the years. You know, you're having some issues with pornography, and you were dating in high school, but now you're not dating that much, and you're feeling like you might have, you know, a lack of motivation to do that. But it sounds like you are interested in women, so onward.
Because I have in the past, you know, had girls. I know I can talk to girls. I'm like a complete loser, but just because I've gone through some shit right now with that, I was just, you know, calling to see what your thoughts are on that and how I can kind of pull myself out of this funk.
Dude, you can pull yourself right out of that funk. I'm going to tell you that, how to unfunk. Dude, how to ungunk your funk. How to ungunk your funk, this is how. So you got to stop the masturbation. You got to stop the pornography. If you feel like you feel like it's gotten out of control, people that are just watching it and enjoying it, and not everybody's calling and saying they feel like it's gotten out of control. So if you feel that way, that's probably based on something real. You know, that it's become a bad habit. It can probably be a healthy habit for you again one day, but for now you might want to address it. You know, and some people think I'm crazy. Well, dude, he can jerk off. What does it mean? He can jerk? This fella just trying to jerk off. But if he's reaching out and he's not comfortable for him anymore, then it's not a fun game for him. You know, yeah, I get it, dude. It's fun. You know, I remember cruising on the interstate and, you know, blasting one out the side of a open van door. You know? And that was a blast, dude, but those days are over. And now when you're just doing it at home and you're not going out and meeting people, so what you got to do is you got to cut it off. Not your wiener, bruh. But you just have to stop it. You got to find some ways to stop it. You got to find habits. Notice what your habits are whenever you do it, and shut it down at night. No electronics late at night. Shut it down. You know, and as you get away from, if you get 30 days away from it, I promise you, you'll just start to feel better in your body. You'll feel more motivated. You'll feel more confident. And I'll even tell you this, man. They got SAA meetings, and that's it's sexual addiction stuff, and that can be anything, man. It doesn't mean you out there perverting. It doesn't mean you out there peeping Toming or, being a weirdo. They got them, I'm looking here right here online. They have them on Monday, Thursday, and Friday in Shreveport, Louisiana. So you can check them out. Nobody's going to know that you heard it on here and went. Nobody's going to know anything like that. But go check it out, man. You can hear about it. You can hear other people share what's going on with them. It's recovery, bro. You can get in that and make yourself feel better, dude. You know what I'm saying? Get off that seed gun. Because you just getting handy with the seed gun, baby. You Wyatt Earp. When you come to your crotch, bro, you are Wyatt Earp. And that's okay, man. You just got to settle that Wild West down. You got to settle that. You got to take the wild out of the West for a while. And I promise you, you'll feel invigorated. You'll feel more confident. You got to let that chi build up. You got to let that chi build up. And I'm telling you that because I know that. I'm telling you that because I know it. And you ain't alone, baby. I've been out in them skeet streets. And I know some people say that I beat this topic to death, play on words, of course. But look, if you're calling about it and I can share about it, man, then I'm happy to do that. And I appreciate you guys all hitting the hotline. We got one more call right here. But good luck, man. And if you even want to just hit me on the hotline again, I won't put the call on, but just to let me know what's going on, or if you want to talk about it in the future, man, I'm happy to discuss it. But yeah, it's a battle out there, dude. It's a battle out there. If you want to be a man that's not caught up in the dark arts, that's not out there, hiding in the living room while your wife laying in the other room, and she's wondering why your sex life is bad, and you out there spraying out, laying down in the tub trying to be quiet, jacked up on some Pornhub. It's tough, guys. I'm not saying you're not wrong for doing it, but it's tough, and we're battling that shit. We're better than that. They create these things to weaken us, to beat us down. You think George Washington was jerking off at night, dude? Hell no. That dude was sharpening his wooden teeth and being ready for the next day. And they say he just chopped down one cherry tree. I bet that motherfucker chopped down all of them. Because he showed up. He battled his tough times. Imagine having termites in your teeth and you still got to wake up and smile. It's tough to be a man these days. They don't want us to be a man. But we're not gonna fall down, baby. We're not. We're gonna toe the line, man. Good luck to you out there. But you can check out those where those meetings are at saa.recovery.org. And it doesn't mean you're a creeper or a weirdo, dude. Trust me, there's the most amazing people you'll meet are in some of these meetings, dude. Businessmen, professionals, heroes, bruh. Heroes. All right, let's hit one more call here on this hot line. Y'all got me feeling fired up. You know what I'm saying? Fired up. I'm about to swim down to Houston and use my body as a sandbag. Again, you can donate. You can text HARVEY to 90999. You can't find a way to help like that. Take $10 out of your pocket, put it into somebody else's that can help. JJ Watt has a great charity that's online. You can hit them up online. Just Google JJ Watt Charity and see what they're doing to help out. Let's do one more call. This call came in from a gentleman.
Hey, Theo. I just wanted to thank you for the fresh perspective that this past weekend continually reminds me to stay positive and celebrate living. And just had a little baby girl born 3 days ago, healthy and happy and gorgeous as ever. I appreciate you doing the Lord's work on the back of that skullet. Brendan Schaub's right. You're about to take the comedy game to a whole new level. Love you, brother. Take care.
Love you too, man. Congratulations, dude. You got that 3-day-old baby girl, huh? Look at us, man. That's a supportive. You want to support feminists? That's how we do it. We're bringing daughters into the world. We're raising them to be good women. To be confident, to be able to become good mothers. We're trying to lead by example. We might fail at times, but we get back up. And I appreciate that call, man. I really appreciate that call. I appreciate the thank you. Because, yeah, it's tough out here, man. It's tough out here for me. And it's nice when I get to get these calls because, I wish a lot of times that, I'd left out of here to Los Angeles and moved home and had myself a family by now, and had that, and I get, a little bit, a little jealous. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Makes me feel like I'm a part of something. But yeah, man, little girls are the cutest, dude. My family was never very close, and then my sister had a baby, And when she first had it, I was like, man, I was so angry at her. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't even know about life, or you don't know. I was just so judgmental. And then, man, once I got to know this kid, and she's just the light of my life, and now she has 2 daughters, and anything they do just brings joy to me. And they brought so much joy to me over the years just by being alive. And little girls are so sweet, man. And so I appreciate you sharing that blessing with us, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about, dude. We're out here trying to help each other out, to remind each other what we can be, boy. We taking this thing. So thank you. I appreciate that call, man. We're trying. We're in this together, dude. We celebrating living. So hit the hotline. Check out YouTube and check out the new set, man. I'm so thankful to Ken Highland, one of my producers who helped put this set together for me, man. Dude, this is cool. We're doing some cool stuff. We got the Patreon. You can check that out. That should be up by Wednesday. And that is patreon.com/Theo Von. And you can support the podcast directly. We're just going to have some small ways you can support, and hopefully some other neat ways that people can get involved and become a part of this. But by hitting the hotline, you can become involved. I had a couple more calls on the call list, but I'm not going to get to them because it's 1 a.m. here, and I still got to edit this thing and put it up. But again, my heart goes out to everybody in Texas. And, if you have somebody that's down there, even if they're not in Houston, text them. Just let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know that just for a minute that we're not thinking about ourselves. That's what we're trying to do. So we're going to celebrate living, man. Happy birthday to that 3-year-old. And thank you for the callers. And I'll talk to you guys soon, man. Finish my coffee. And this is the Spencer Jacob Grau, Grau band. And that link will be in the YouTube as well.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery. That soon we're gonna die.
And as well, if anybody has a topic that they'd like to have us address on the podcast, call in and say, hey, this is a topic suggestion. I'd love to know whatever. I mean, that hotline is open. If you call and mess up or whatever, call back. There's no judgment on that. There's no judgment. And thank you for everybody that called and shared some of their thoughts and feelings. I really appreciate it, man. I really, really do. I'm excited today, man. I'm excited.
Let's have some fun while we all die. Celebrate dark days. Celebrate all your pain. All of your demons exercised.
Close this out right here, man. You guys be good to yourselves. I bet you deserve it. I'm going to try. I'm going to try, man. I'm going to try. No promises, but I'm going to try, man. You guys be good. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jonathan Kite, and welcome to Kite Club, a podcast where I'll be sharing thoughts on things like current events, stand-up stories, and 7 ways to pleasure your partner. The answer may shock you. Sometimes I'll interview my friends. Sometimes I won't. And as always, I'll be joined by the voices in my head.
You have 3 new voice messages.
A lot of people are talking about Kite Club. I've been talking about Kite Club for so long, longer than anybody else. So great.
Hey, sweetheart, here's the deal. Anyone who doesn't listen to Kite Club is a dodgy bloody wanker. Do you know what I mean?
Hi, I'll take a quarter pounder with cheese and a McFlurry.
Sorry, sir, but our ice cream machine is broken.
Oh, no!
I think Tom Hanks just butt-dialed me. Anyway, first rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Second rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Third rule, like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts or watch us on YouTube, yeah? And yes, don't worry, my Brad Pitt impression will get better.
This past weekend. All right, check. Got me? There we go. Happy Monday.
Celebrate living. Celebrate
misery.
That soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die.
All right. All right, it's Monday, September 25th of the year 2017. And some people want to say that it's not autumn. Okay, but it's autumn. It's fall. You know, this is winter's little mixed baby. You know, this is winter's little mixed baby. And this thing is nibbling at our nipples. I went outside yesterday and I could feel Mother Nature being naughty. I could feel her licking at the ends of my limbs, at my elbows and my lips. I could feel that naughty little biatch tickling my whiskers. You know what I'm talking about? And that is autumn coming. That is Mother Nature showing off her fanciness. You know, she's hanging all her clothes out to dry. You know, the party's over, the skinny dipping and the swimming and the drinking lemonade and the summertime activities are over. And Mother Nature's about to shake them leaves off. And you could even hear birds being like, hey, motherfucker, it's about to get cold. And you see little birds that could be, that might not even make it through the winter. You see them trying to couple up with bigger birds that are going to be able to take care of them. You know, you'll see a sparrow trying to fuck a goose. Or you will see even a hummingbird, you know, trying to, you know, get in a little bit of, trying to get into some doggy style with a raven. You will see things like that because some of these smaller animals know that winter's coming. And that's all that's going on. Thank you guys for joining me. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited about this show today. I had a sidekick on last week, right? A lot of you listeners weren't happy about it. I understand. And he'll be back. He's going to pop back in later on today. We're going to try it in a little bit of a new facet. He's not here now. So that's going to be good. We're going to get into some other stuff. Oh, I got to tell you what happened to me. I got hair rejuvenation surgery. Hair rejuvenation surgery in my head with my own hair. And what it is they take part of your hair out of the back of your head. And look, I got enough hair for everybody. If you got a bald child out there or something, you know, I could make wigs for half of a St. Jude's commercial. I got enough hair coming off the back. And so a buddy of mine introduced me to this dude a while back, this doctor out here. And next thing you know, I'm in there talking to him and he's like, look, you should get the surgery. You should get the procedure. And I love surgery. I've always loved surgery since I was young. When I was young, I had a very small wiener, basically a wiener hole, the hole in your wiener, urethra or urethra. It's one of them. One of them's also a singer. I don't know who it is. One of them's I think a African-American mezzo-sopranist. But the urethra or the urethra, my hole basically on my wiener was too small. So when I would pee, I was peeing, I could pee it. Dude, I could pee almost maybe 45 feet. It was dumbfounding the distance that I could urinate. And so when I urinated, I would piss big on apple juice too. If I had apple juice, dude, I was basically a water gun. You know, I remember my brother I'd drink a bunch of apple juice and my brother would carry me around and I would basically just piss at my sisters. You know, because I was just like a weapon. But it became a strain on my body. It became like painful. And so they had to take me into the surgery area and they had to cut, you know, recavernate my penis hole. And so, and I don't know what the exact procedure is on that. I would look it up, but I don't want to get into my computer. I want to stay in my brain. So that's what I would do, man. I got that done when I was young. And then I swallowed all them quarters. They had to get the quarters out of me. I had a spine surgery a while back, may or may not have needed, you know, but something about surgery and something about procedures, I think it's just the care or something when you're in there. You know, when you wake up and suddenly there's people around and they wanted to know if you need anything. And I think when I was young, I just wanted that care. I wanted somebody to feel, local, and they come in. It just seems like, there's a couple people in the room you feel cared for. And that's what I liked about it. And so I went in, man, and people are like, dude, you don't need hair surgery. You don't need any hair transplantation. You're right. I don't need it. But I don't know if that's part of my, I don't feel like I have an addiction to surgeries. I don't. I like them. I like the, the rigmarole, the signing in, and then you're waiting, and then everybody's wearing the same outfits because they're same uniforms because of, you're in a medical facility. Everybody has on the, the little shoe. They put these little like shower caps on your shoes, and everybody wears the, same color stuff because they're doing a procedure. And next thing you know, I'm getting the hair taken out of the back of my head, put it in the front of my head. So that's what happened, man. I'm going to take you through that. I'll just take you through it right now. We're going to talk about the kneeling in the NFL a little bit. And then I'm going to have Ari Manis is going to be back here. And we are going to have him read some of the comments that people had to say about him. And I just want to kind of feel that out with him. I did commit to giving things a shot with him for a little bit. But I do realize that listeners want it to be just me and them as well. So I'm not bailing on having Ari in, but I'm not committing to it yet fully either. So we're just going to feel it out. And that's life. Sometimes you just have to feel things out. So anyhow, let me tell you about this hair procedure. So I had a friend that got hair. And I'd never even met this friend before. This was a new friend. So this was an inaugural friend. And I said to him, man, you got good hair. And he goes, well, I'll tell you this. He said, you see the hair on the front of my head? I said, yep. He goes, usually you can't see that hair unless you're standing behind me. And I'm thinking that, I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe this kid was raised in a fun house. His daddy's a magician. I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe he thinks maybe he's on acid. I don't know. But he ended up telling me that he got hair taken out of the back of his head, put into the front of his head. And it just blew my mind because it looked normal. You couldn't tell anything. So anyway, fast forward 2 years. I'm in the guy's office the other day, and he's like, let's get it. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I got the hair. And you sit down, you go in there, and first they run like a little bit of a woman's vibrator along your scalp. And it looks like a little vibrator almost and this, I'm not trying to be profane, but like a baby. If a baby was being sensual, a female baby by themselves, and was using like a little vibrator thing, this is maybe the thing that they would use. And I'm not envisioning that while I'm saying it. If you're envisioning that, I don't recommend that. But I'm just telling you kind of what this little thing looked like. And he injects this stuff into the front of your head. And then he does the vibrator right over it so that it kind of like just alleviates a little bit of the pain. So they shoot you up in that forehead, dude. So my head was doused up. I'm sober, but my hairline was straight up drunk driving, son. I'm surprised I didn't wake up in in another hairline's bed. You feel me? Between the sheets with another stranger hairline. So I got that. They put the injections in, and then next thing you know, they make you take 2 Xanaxes. You taking Xanax in the beginning. I've never been into pills. I've never been into prescription pills or anything like that. And people used to eat Xanaxes, and then their faces would get real skinny, and then they would have to leave town and get better. I remember that from growing up. But next thing you know, I'm a little bit woozy, and they turn me over. Oh, no. First, the doctor comes with this little tool, and he starts just pushing it into your head, right? And they start pushing it in your head. And literally, you can hear your head crunching, but you can't feel it. Is it awesome? It sounds like your brain is eating Special K or Frosted Flakes, like something like that. It sounds like your brain is eating cereal, and just the first few bites, because it's crunchy, you just keep hearing this crunch, right? This crunch. So this guy just keeps crunching me up. So I'm getting straight crunched up by another man, and I've never really been involved in anything heavily homoerotic, but when you've had a man, and this was a beautiful man, I think maybe from Egypt or another country, when you've had a beautiful man like that just put 500, 600 little bitty holes in your scalp, I mean, that must count for beyond sex. That's after, that's because sex is one time. That's one hole, fill, you're in, you're out, you're swapping numbers. Who knows? You're behind the shonies. Who knows what's going on? But with this man, with his little tool, he was getting full bore inside of me. So I got all these little holes. Then they turn you over. They flip you over, bro. It's like you're an egg. It's like you're a piece of breakfast. And this goes back to that care and stuff that I like. This is what I like about all of that, is that you get cared for. And that's it, man. They flip you over, and then they got two shorties in there, right? A couple of straight up just follicle jockeys, right? And these ladies show up with this little clipper, and they just shave a little part into the back of your head. You cannot even, like if you're standing behind me right now, you have no idea. So they shave a little part in there, and then I don't know what happens because the Xanax took over. So I passed out. I wake up. They'd ordered everybody Chinese food. No clue how long I'd been out. But next thing you know, I'm jacked up on sweet and sour chicken. I'm feeling fired up. Everybody's friends, kind of flirting with the girl that worked at the front a little bit. I think she was, she had a kid, but she was, doing her best. She was trying to go back to school, I think. I don't know. And next thing you know, they got me flipped back over. My body's digesting Chinese food. Everybody has Chinese food in their systems. And they're putting these two hair babies are putting the follicles in. They're replanting me, they're out there. So suddenly I'm a sharecropper. I'm sharecropping basically got my mullet put into the front. And so people can say anything about this certain styles of hair, And people say, Theo, why do you have the haircut you have? And I say, well, for me, this is the underdog cut. I look like shit, and I know that, and that's fine. So let's take my looks out of the equation, okay? So what else are we? Who else are we? But when I got a little bit of that mullet now in the front, I'm coming something fierce. I'm coming out of the jungle. If I commit a crime, they're like, who did it? Oh, I don't know, a man that had magic growing out the fucking front of his head. That's who. Man, if you saw a police artist sketch of me, it better look like a just like a thundercat, like a lion. It better look like something that just leapt out of a damn birch and bit your stepdaddy in the neck. Because that's how I'm living now. So I got some of the back of my hair and the front of my hair, and it makes me feel good, honestly. It makes me feel even more like just like a damn pleasure cat. And you can't even notice. So here's the thing. You got these little hairs. They just put them all in these holes, right? So then you don't have anything. You still have the same hair you started out with that day. So nothing's new in that world. You got the same hair you started out with that day. So that's it. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'm sure some guys have had this procedure. Some guys haven't had it. I definitely worry some that I'm going to lose my hair in the future. So a lot of that is anxiety. And people can say, well, that's, it's cosmetic surgery. It is. It's a cosmetic surgery, but yeah, I guess, I'm out here. I get nervous. I get scared. I don't want to, if I can keep my hair for another, if I can keep that front line fighting and I know I got them, them soldiers in the back that are legit, then I'm going to tag team, this is WWE out here, out here in these hair streets. And I just tag teamed into the back of my head and I'm bringing it around to the front. And so I still got the same amount of back, maybe minus 600 hairs you'd never notice. And now I'm keying up the front, dude. So we're coming in full throttle. Double Dragon. Remember Double Dragon, that video game? People fucking Double Dragon, dude. Whatever. I don't even know. So I went out. Look, I leave that night. So, I get all bandaged up. I got to still go do my comedy, right? I got this hair tourniquet on my head. I can't touch the front of my head for 3 days. And that part I didn't like. That part brought me down off the high clouds. I'm like, oh, this isn't even cool. It made me feel like I wish I had never done this. And almost a week now, it was last Tuesday that this happened. I feel a little bit like, I guess, do I feel any ashamed that I did it? I guess I feel like, maybe I feel a little bit like maybe my higher power or something had a certain way that they want me to look in my life. So I guess I feel a little bit, I don't know if I feel like a cheater, but I feel maybe a little bit of shame there. I also feel a little bit like, like I liked being in the place. I liked being in there with the people and having the Chinese food and getting the hair and feeling, even feeling the vibrator on my scalp. I know that's kind of maybe homoerotic or something. I don't know, but it was exciting for everybody, I felt like. And then, so then I'm back out at the comedy clubs. I'm wearing this bandage. Here was the shit part. Nobody even asked me about it. I got my head wrapped up in bandages. Nobody's asking me shit. Nobody's asking me what happened, anything. I go on stage. People thought it was a tennis band. That's what my buddy tells me after. Oh, people thought it was a tennis headband. Dude, it's gauze. Who you playing tennis with, huh? Martina not gonna live, huh? Because if I see somebody with a bandage on their head, I'm going to check in with them. I'm going to see what's going on with them because that's a severe thing. That's their head. You only get one head. And people are out here, I got this bandage, and that made me feel, honestly, it started a little bit of depression for me for the week. And that was hectic, man. I didn't like that feeling. Nobody asked. You got a buddy wrapped up, their cranium is all balled up in cotton and swaddling cotton. And you're not even going to check in with them? Some dudes didn't even look up from their phone. Buddies of mine. Just on the, yeah. Nothing. So I don't know. That's L.A., man. That's L.A. for you. Everybody talking shit on all social media about how it's the most loving. You got to love one and this and that. And then everybody's just on their phone screaming at the rest of the universe about how we got to all take care of each other. But then you got a buddy that shows up in your visual streets out here in zone 1. In zone 1, I say that's from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's your primary zone. Some people, my buddy Danny growing up, he had that bad neck. So every couple seconds, the Lord would just involuntarily swoop him out of zone 1 over into zone 2. And he's looking a different direction. But I'm talking about zone 1, natural. When you have that natural forward looking. Where are you looking? Straight ahead. A little bit to the right. A little bit to the left. That's zone 1. And I'm showing up in people's zone 1. And nobody cares. I guarantee I'll walk down the street, in middle America out there. And somebody would be saying, hey, man. At least they'll say, don't bleed over here, Or somebody maybe give me a can of peaches. Or do something nice. But nobody asked a thing, man. And that's as close as you can get to dying. If I show up missing a leg, yeah, that's bad, You're down to one, you still got one. If I show up and my hands are burned in a fire, and I gotta, I have to carry my wallet around in my hands because I won't be able to get it out of my pocket anymore. So I'm just carrying around my own wallet like that. That's bad. But that person is still probably going to live. But you see somebody showed up, their cranium all balled up, like a regifted Christmas, vase or vase. And you're not even asking what's going on? Yeah, of course. So, you know what? Maybe that got me to feeling bad. I don't know what that got me to feeling, but it didn't get me to feeling very good. And then the rest of the week, I've been in a little bit of pain, dealing with that, dealing with the head pressure. But everything's going okay. And then we get to, and I'll answer more questions. If anybody has questions about the call-in, about the hair stuff, you can ask, and I will answer them. And I don't know a ton about the hair stuff. I started to watch videos on the internet, but then I got away from that because I don't want to get into the whole hair universe. I just like being cared for, man. And you get in those facilities and they care for you. And here's the thing. If I get a certain number of people to get the hair transplant within the next year, then mine is free. So I'm involved basically in a pyramid scheme, a pyramid scheme, if you will. And I love those, dude. I love pyramid schemes. You know, I don't think they're fair. I don't think it's funny when people get trapped in them. I got stuck in one as a child. Me and a buddy of mine each put $1,000 into this one. And this is back when somebody had come through our town and sold a bunch of glitter mining acreage and shit. You know, when they were trying to trick people into thinking glitter mining was big and all of that. And me and my buddy each lost $1,000, and we each saved up all our money, and we lost $1,000. And actually, that might have been, was that in college? Might have been maybe in the first year of college. I don't know, but that was all the money that I had. Another time I lost all my money, fell out of my pant leg. I had it rolled up, and that was at a gas station in East Texas. And that was not in any sort of pyramid scheme. That was just natural gravity and poor choices, pretty much. But yeah, so if I get a certain number of people to do that hair up, you know, so now I'm on that hair hunt. So suddenly my life's interesting, you know. You know, I might sprout a fucking eyebrow off a shoulder, you know. I might spring an eyebrow off a deltoid, you feel me? So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm on that hair hunt, and I'm in that hair game. What else? I'm trying to go to the Impractical Jokers tonight. My buddy Sal Volcano. If you haven't seen that show, they're 4 amazing men, and they put on a great program. So I'm excited. I'm trying to get over there. So we're going to get through this. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the kneeling during the national anthem. Take a knee, I think, was the hashtag, right? And I get it. I get that you want to create awareness. I get it. And I think do the knee thing. Do it for a game. I mean, this isn't the first time this has happened. You can look back. If you go Google 2016 athletes taking a knee, 2015, keep going back through the years. Every year, somebody or a group of people, and there's been a stance. And look, it's a good ground. This happens every year for a few games. This is the largest we've seen it to this magnitude. You know, I think the media blows it out of proportion. If some guys want to take a knee, let them take a knee. You know, that's their choice. You know, for a few weeks, I'm not going to really feel anything about them. I think that there's better ways to get your point across. I think that taking a knee thing is a little outdone. You know, I think it's always a player that starts it that's kind of not that good. Colin Kaepernick was okay. He was good in his first year. In the next 2 years, he was not good in the NFL. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but he didn't do very well. You know, and so I wonder of how much of that is just him, like if there's some energy in there that it's also him being disgruntled. With that said, I think awareness that racial indiscretion and racial issues, always good. Everybody needs to be reminded. You know, I try and remind people that poor white people have had a fucking tough time in America, and that poor people overall have a tough time in America. I'd rather see somebody take a knee for the financial disparity in America that continues to grow. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see somebody take a knee for how gas stations are allowed to sell sour milk. You ever gotten this shit? You go get some milk for your children, and next thing, you have 90 minutes, dude. You have 90 minutes to use that milk. That is the Jack Bauer of milk. That is 90-minute Jack Bauer sauce. That's that Jack Bauer bottle, dude. In 90 minutes, gas station milk is going to be sour. So you better get it into your kid's mouth, get it wherever you need to get it. But I get taking the knee, you know. I get it. But I think take it against some other stuff. How about take it against laziness? You know, take it against you know, 3rd and 4th and 5th generation people in America just sucking off the system. You know, I just feel like there are sometimes the causes just gets like I've heard it before. You know, I'd like to just see a new novel way overall for almost any cause. And for me, I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. For me, it's not about me at all. It's about the fact that I am blessed to live in America. That's it. That's what it's about for me. Now, for other people, it might be about something else. But I stand, As long as I'm, know that it's going on, I stand, I honor. It's about the fact that, that millions of people, lost their lives so that I could have this freedom right here, freedom of speech. So it's crazy and that to me is something that's a little crazy. It's like you're expressing your freedom of speech, but in a way that kind of, to me, seems like you are putting shade or casting a downward light on the people that sacrifice their lives for it. So to me, that's kind of how it seems, So I just like to see some taking a knee for other stuff. I'd like to see taking a knee for racial violence in all directions, and the racial inequalities that everybody faces. Sure, do it for a game or two, But let's also play football. Let's make it about what it is. These guys are playing sports. You work at an office. This is an office. And it also is weird, though, that at the beginning of your office, they happen to say the Pledge of Allegiance. But I think it's just because it's an event that gets so many people together, so many diverse groups of Americans together, that's when they want to do it, Maybe the NFL shouldn't have ever put it in, but I don't know. The national anthem's a thing that they put in at the beginning of everything. There's a neat video of one of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and their team chose not to come out of the tunnel and be involved during the national anthem at all, which I thought was interesting. At least they're saying we might all stand for it, but we're going to stand for it in our locker room. But they had one player who had served a few military tours. Villanueva was his last name, and he came out, and there's a cool video of him out there by himself, saluting the pledge, saluting the flag, and listen and standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance. I live here. I'm happy to live here. I'm happy to be here. I'll always stand for the pledge. It's not about me. It's not about me. And that's just my thoughts, man. You can have totally different thoughts. And if you do, call me. Let me know. I want to know more about them. I'm happy to have my mind opened up as well. All right, we're going to have Ari Manis in studio in just a second. We're going to read to him and have him read some of the things that people said about him being in last time. I'm excited. I want to thank everybody who's been supporting through Patreon, and that's patreon.com/Theo Von. You can donate any amount from $2 to $10. And I want to thank you to everybody. We are almost to 50 donors. So I'm really, really happy about that, and I genuinely appreciate that. I'm excited. The money's going right back into the podcast. We're going to do some neat things. Okay, we'll be right back with Ari Manis back in studio reading some of the comments that people made about him. And this isn't to shame anyone that made them. This is just to kind of get into that space of what that's like. All right. This past weekend. By now, everyone knows that Dollar Shave Club ships amazing razors for a few bucks, a few buckaroos. I've been a member for a while, that's true, and I love my shave. I'm not fully shorn right now, but I love it when I am. What you might not know is that Dollar Shave Club also has products for pretty much everything else I need in the bathroom. Body wash, shampoo, hair gel, lip balm, everything. Lip balm. As soon as I heard Dollar Shave Club had other stuff than razors, I was sold. At the store, there are too many options. You can't tell the difference between any of them. What is this? Is this shaving cream? Is this a hat? And if you have any questions, the clerk doesn't know. Most of the clerks are only working there because the court assigned them. So if you're like me and you're sick of the nonsense at the store, now's the time to try out Dollar Shave Club. For a limited time, Dollar Shave Club is basically giving away their starter set to new members for only $5. This starter set features their executive razor and 3 trial-sized versions of their most popular products that help you stay fresh and clean. DollarShaveClub.com/weekend. This offer is exclusively available. That's DollarShaveClub.com/weekend for $5 off the starter set. Check it out. Ari Manis is back here, guys. Ari, how are you?
I'm good. I've had a week to recover and do my own thing, and it's a fun weekend.
Have you?
Everything's great, yeah.
Well, what about this, man? I'm going to play this for you right now, all right? Just listen up.
One of the reasons that I love your show, and probably a lot of the other people that love your show, is it feels like you're talking to us. It feels like it's just you and us in the room or in the car or whatever, wherever people are listening. And
hey, Theo, constructive criticism. Constructive being the key word. I love your work. If you're going to have a sidekick, just make sure the sidekick knows he's a sidekick and not a co-host. It's the old 80-20 rule, right? I mean, 80% Theo, 20% sidekick. People come to your channel to see you. Again, nothing wrong with Ari.
Okay. Couple of call-ins right
You
there
know
that I
what?
got.
Those were fine. Those are, like they said, constructive criticism.
No, I
those
appreciate
guys
it.
didn't sound like they hate me.
Nope.
The one guy was just like, "We are here for Theo," and the next guy was like, "Nothing against Ari." So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think there's some truth to that. Maybe I talked a little too much. I don't know. I haven't actually gone back and re-listened.
Okay.
The ones that got to me
Mm-hmm.
were the YouTube comments.
Okay.
The YouTubers. You got any of those?
Yeah, I have one right here.
Yeah.
Here, why don't you read it? It's the top one on this one from a guy, Aura Glasswork. Sounds Jewish, actually. So let's
Yeah,
see what he has
it
to
does.
say.
He said, oh, okay. Dude is a wacky piece of shit. Who gives a fuck if your girl buys a lamp? Grow the fuck up, douche hat.
Yeah, and
All
by
right.
dude he meant you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think he meant me as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think that was one of the more popular comments on the video too. That hurt as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is some of these video comments, you know, you're always going to get the haters.
Right.
But when the number one comment is a negative thing about myself, that makes me go, wow, the whole world just doesn't like me.
Well, do you feel like the whole world doesn't? Do you feel like it's just
or the
these
whole
people?
this whole world?
Okay.
You know.
So you felt like it was when that dude said, read it one more time?
Dude is a wacky piece of shit. Who gives a fuck if your girl buys a lamp? Grow the fuck up, douche hat. And then there was a little hat symbol.
Yeah.
After
And I
the-
think I did have
after
a
the
good
douche
bit
hat.
of pluses on the thing.
Yeah, and
A
you
lot
know
of
that
likes.
one. You know what? That one was funny. He said the word douche hat. He
Douche
had a
hat was
picture-
pretty good at the
Yeah,
end. And I
he got
remember
douche
there was an
hat.
emoji on it.
He had a point behind it.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that hurts a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's not haters.
Mm-hmm.
It's they have a little truth behind them.
I see.
Each one, you know what I mean? It's not just someone saying you suck.
Right.
Because
Did
that
you
I
feel
could
like a
ignore.
douche? Did you feel like a douche when you were here? Would
Not
you
while I
honestly
was
feel
here.
like?
While I was here, it was just me and you. I was being me.
Yeah.
You were being you.
Yeah.
And I felt fine. I wasn't trying to be funny. I didn't
No.
walk away feeling like I was this funny guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel obstructive. And so yeah, that morning when it came out and I'm reading the comments, it stung a little bit. But
Yeah, because I spoke with you that evening for a few minutes on the phone. I said, look, I called you. I said, man, don't let your feelings get hurt. You know, just keep your head up. We'll, think about it.
yeah, and you know, if I'm patting myself on the back, if I'm cheering myself up, I got to think you did 40 something episodes by yourself.
Yeah.
And then I come in.
Yeah.
They don't even see me.
Yeah, and it's weird. And I didn't really tell them. I
They're
know
not
we
used
talked
to
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of fans that had said, look, let's get somebody in here. Let's try and, they want to try something new. And so that's what I'm trying.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a lot of change.
Yeah.
And I don't take it too personally. And I realize, when you put yourself out on this public forum like this on YouTube, you have to be ready for this kind of thing. You got to be ready for the hate to come in sometimes.
This went together like a mayonnaise and jelly sandwich. You need to look for your peanut butter. So that's from Chucky Duncan.
I didn't see that one.
And I used to actually push buggies with a dude named Chucky, and this was down at at a Winn-Dixie or an AMP store.
Could it be that guy?
No, this kid name was Chucky, dude, and his big trick was some of the parking lot was kind of downhill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he would get at the high end, and he would get in one of the like the back buggy. He'd get a big line of buggies, and he'd get in the back one, right? So at the back, like almost the caboose.
Yeah.
And he'd light himself a cigarette, and he'd get the whole line going. I mean, pretty quickly, kind of going downhill in this parking lot. And then he just smoked the cigarette the whole way down like a train, pretending he was like a train. And then he would just kind of coast them all into the grass.
He had dreams. He wanted to be what's the word called?
Train.
Train.
But it's
He wanted to be a
anticlimactic a little bit. But anyhow, I like the setup with the sidekick. Gives a little bit of a different flow. That was No Lucky Strike sent that in.
Yeah, there was a few positive ones. I got a few tweets saying we liked you. I got a few messages on my Instagram. So it wasn't all negative. It was just mostly negative.
No more co-host. No real opinions. Just trying to impress Theo.
Was I trying? I didn't feel like I was trying to impress you too much.
Only one person knows, dude.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to impress.
No, I think there's an element where, like, we want to, you want to, best be of service to the podcast, and that's one reason why I wanted to, like, I've had other people that I've thought about. Oh, maybe it'd be neat to try them out,
Totally.
sidekick, see how it goes.
Yeah, that's really what I was trying to do, is just be of service. And I think the one thing I did do of service, besides the technical aspects of things, is I set it up great for the next guy.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, not worse than Ari. It was like, I think whoever's on next is going to have it a lot easier. For sure, no matter who it is.
But yeah, look, we talked about it and we said, we're going to try this out.
Yeah, we're trying it out.
We don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah. I don't expect this to be an every single week type of deal. This is your show.
You have to get rid of that dude. That was another one.
That was the whole thing?
Yeah.
See, that one, there's nothing behind it. See, those are the ones that are like, oh, come on, at least give me something. At least give me a chance.
Yeah.
Or give me some notes.
Can this fucking sidekick guy interrupt you anymore? And I put my own intonations on that sentence. But that's what was written by Brandon Gray. The concept could work if the side piece knows their place and doesn't get too damn frisky with the mic.
Huh. I guess it's weird, too. When I left, I didn't think, I was talking the whole time. I guess I talked a lot for a sidekick. I don't know, but I didn't feel like I was interrupting you and taking over the show. But I guess maybe I did.
Well, we didn't know. We didn't know what it was going to be, and we still don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know that this time we decided we're going to have Ari come in. We're going to address this. We're going to talk about some of these comments.
We're talking about it.
Yeah, see how you felt. And then we're going to have Ari take over the news. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Ari's going to throw up some topics. We're going to get into them. Let's get into that, Ari.
This is the first story I got. Virginia woman bitten by copperhead snake inside a Longhorn steakhouse.
Ooh, man. Is it okay that I am a little bit fucking turned on right now?
Yeah. She's cute, actually.
A lot of hotties work at Longhorn usually, dude.
Yeah.
If the manager's a good dude, he hires hot chicks and puts them in there. Boots. And they come and they beat this saddle. They have this thing where when it's somebody's birthday, they drag. My sister used to work there, dude.
Your sister worked at the Longhorn Steakhouse?
Not the one in Virginia, but she used to work there. And so they would drag this saddle out of the back, dude. It is so bizarre. It's like, some of those places have the birthday song. Mm-hmm. It's like, happy birthday to you,
Yeah.
And then at Longhorn, they drag this old saddle out of the back, right? And it's got like mayonnaise stains on it and stuff. It's a straight bust, right? Like the manager's been just plowing chicks on it after work, right? It's a real just... it's basically kind of like it's so like handicapped kids, I think, can like pretend that they can go on a horse kind of thing, So I don't know. I guess they get like a whole bunch of these. The company does Longhorn, and then they give one to each place from like, maybe one of those handicapped camps or something, summer camps that went out of business. So then they get these, they drag it out of the back, and they sit you on it, whoever's birthday it is, and they put like streamers and shit on you. They put a cowboy hat on you, put like a lasso on you, and then they sing happy birthday to you. And that's what happens at those kind of places. So I just want to give you some context. And my sister worked there for a while.
Yeah.
And then she said she wanted to get into acting because she thought she was good at that.
Because that job made her feel good about acting?
Yeah. Like she thought just because she put on these shows, she's like, well, I'm doing, this is her. She's like, I'm doing shows at work. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about maybe getting some headshots taken. And I'm like, and that's where I realized that my sister and I have this divide that we'll never be able to mentally get on the same page, Because I'm not denouncing her, but I'm just saying you don't spend the $250, $300 on headshots because you're singing happy birthday to people at a Longhorn Steakhouse.
Right.
That's not show work.
Maybe sign up for an acting class. Maybe it made you realize you enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah, you take a smaller step.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened there? I want to read that headline again. Do you mind one more time?
Yeah, sure. Virginia woman bitten by copperhead snake inside a Longhorn Steakhouse. And what happened was she was going there to eat. Mm-hmm. She felt something bite her foot. She reaches down, and it's a baby copperhead snake. And luckily, her boyfriend used to breed reptiles. So he knew exactly what to do. He took the snake out. He knew what kind it was. He killed the snake. He called the paramedics. He said, my girl just got bitten by a baby copperhead. You got to get her. They come pick her up. They take her to the hospital. They give her some anti-venom.
Is that hazing? I feel like this is hazing because they're shutting fraternities down for this same type of shit. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, you know, they're biting, or animals are out there. They have raccoons or something bit some kids in the nuts down there in University of South Carolina or something a couple of years ago. And they're, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's wild when you mix animals with humanity. It's wild.
Anything could happen.
And is this the kind of place that says that they have any sort of petting in there or any animals in there regularly or no?
That's the thing. It's just a regular Longhorn Steakhouse. There was no animals supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And they just got this. I wonder if they're liable for any sort of thing. Cool little reptile story.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, it makes you a little more excited to be at a Longhorn Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the environment in there is kind of mundane.
Well, for sure, it makes you wear closed-toed shoes.
Yeah.
You don't go into a Longhorn Steakhouse after reading the story with sandals on.
Fucking.
And you look down. You should look down and watch where you're walking.
Dude, I don't eat in sandals, bro. And to me, that's a little bit homoerotic. That's like wearing shorts to church. When I see a guy's knees in church, dude, I'm out, bro. All right, next
story. A cafe is giving its customers water soakers to shoot pigeons because it's fed up of being besieged. I don't know if I read that last word right. I just want to get the animal story out of the way. Besieged.
And I
What's
guess they're
besieged.
I guess animals pooping are out there eating. And that's the thing amazing that's about pigeons, that they have the capacity to shit and eat at it's almost like one way or the other. It's like they're either taking something in their mouth or they're shitting. There's no downtime.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of downtime.
Yeah.
With those. I mean, I've seen videos of people putting Alka-Seltzer and feeding that to pigeons and watching the birds explode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is pretty... I'm okay with shooting a pigeon with a water gun to get rid of them.
Yeah, my father, when I was growing up, he used to pay this black man named Stoop, and he stood. Well, the nickname was Stoop. He had one of his legs a little shorter than the other, so he would stand on this stoop, on a little bit of a stoop, and he would stand there all day to make him look even. So if you're just driving by, he looks even. Now, if you know him and you get up there and talk to him close, you realize that he's uneven.
Huh.
But my father used to pay him to take us to lunch. My dad used to work at this little shop, and when my dad had to watch us, he'd pay this man to take us to lunch, get hot dogs. And pigeons would always attack him in the park. Because there was a period in Louisiana, I feel like, where honestly, I don't think pigeons, I don't know if somebody's racially training these pigeons or not, but they were attacking a lot of black people.
Really?
Yeah. Or if black people were being mean to them, at night, and that you weren't seeing that part of it, and then just during the day, the pigeons were striking back.
I think whatever, you have to realize pigeons are smarter than we think, because I didn't know pigeons could do that, could be racist.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just enough. It's like that cause and effect thing. It's like, and I think it's, I guess it was happening a lot. I don't know. I don't know exactly what was happening. But I could see somebody was either training pigeons to be racist, or there's the only two things I could think that would be occurring is somebody's training them to be racist. Because you can train birds.
Yeah.
They have birds doing all kinds of stuff. Think about something that birds do.
They deliver messages.
Boom.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, birds deliver messages. Birds, they're using bird organs in transplants, the bird tissue into people. They made somebody something out of part of a bird recently.
It makes sense. They have great eyesight. They could scout little rodents from up in the sky.
That's fat. And some of their eyes are so small. Think about how acute their eyes must be.
They must be, they have great eyes, so that would make sense that they could easily distinguish colors of people.
Bird's eye view? How strong is a bird's eye? That's a great question.
Probably depends on the bird.
Bird vision. Here it says right here, man, and I'll use Wikipedia, dude, as my source.
Most of the time that shit's right. Sometimes it's off.
Vision is the most important sense for birds, since good eyesight is essential for safe flight. And this group has a number of adaptations which give visual actual superiority to that of other vertebrate groups. A pigeon has been described as 2 eyes with wings. So that right there tells you pigeons are in that, they're about that life. And I could, so anyway, but yeah, these pigeons would attack this man when he would take us to lunch a lot of times. And it got to the point where he couldn't take us to lunch anymore down in the French Quarter, because in the French Quarter, there's a lot of pigeons down there.
Yeah, it's not even worth going to lunch with a guy if you're just going to get shat on by pigeons the whole time. At some point, you're just like, I'm going to go get lunch by myself.
Yeah. All right. I think that takes care of our news.
That's the news, baby.
Ari, I want you to stay for this first caller, man.
Okay.
I'm excited about this, and I want you to stay for this first caller.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, let's get to it right now. Can you hear on the calls too on your audio?
I think so.
Okay, great, man. All right, let's take this one in. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. Got a caller from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'll leave my name out. So, my girlfriend's friend, a couple months ago, I'd say.
Now, Albuquerque, New Mexico, that's Dreamcatcher country. You been over there?
I went to high school in Roswell, New Mexico, a couple hours away.
Did you really, by the alien
Yeah,
stuff?
I went to a military high school over there. So,
Did you really?
So I spent a lot of time in Albuquerque, yeah. My parents didn't, and I didn't get along, so they sent me away to a bad boy school.
Bro, that adds a way creepy level to you. I didn't know that. So you were out there by the aliens.
Yeah, I was over in alien country a couple of years.
All right, let's get into this call. So this guy's calling from
Albuquerque.
From Albuquerque.
I'll leave my name out. So, my girlfriend's friend, a couple months ago, I'd say, out of nowhere, she's posting pictures on her Facebook with a whole bunch of money. So my girl decides to message her and ask her, you know, hey, how'd you come up on all this? She got a new car, she got a new purse. And the girl tells her,
how'd you come up in that loot, huh?
Stripping.
Yeah, and that's my first thought.
Yeah.
Is stripping. And I hate to think that about girls, but that's an okay thing to think.
Okay.
There's this dude on Snapchat giving money away. He's having little contests. If you guess how fat his friend is, on the dot, you get $10,000.
I mean, come on.
That's a cool contest.
I mean,
I'd give it a shot.
It is a great contest.
It's like when they used to do those, you count the jelly beans in the bin.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
But now you got to count the eternal jelly beans in a human's physical system. Yeah. How fat my friend is. You get $10,000.
Yeah.
Onward.
So she adds him. You know, we try a few times. We almost win a couple times. But,
I want to know what his guesses were so bad.
I want to see a picture of this dude.
Yes. I'm going to have to text this guy, and I'm going to see if I can add this in on YouTube. I'll get a picture of the fat friend. Onward.
Dude notices that my girl's a looker, and he slides into her DMs asking if she wants to really make some money, that she could, you know, give him a night of her time for, wait for it, 100 G's.
Ooh. And what about the fat friend? I guess he's out at this point.
I guess, yeah. I wonder what his involvement is with all. Does he know what's going on?
Oh, that's called the fat and switch, dude. When you put your fat friend out there and then you wheel him in the back and you offer up that $100,000. So now the guy's offering $100,000 to be with the guy's girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, they made a movie about this in the 80s. Onward.
100K, one night of her time. You know, at first we laugh, start researching this dude. He's having dinners with Diddy. All kinds of big names, and not gonna lie, we considered it, you know, but I decided that's the definition of selling your soul, you know, so you know, we declined. But I told her, you know, let's see how much you could really get out of this guy, flirting a little bit. So
yeah, let's see, huh?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks go by after we kind of squashed that, had some fun with it, and then we kind of just forgot about it. About a month later, he hits her up, tells her he's going to be in Albuquerque.
Aha. Oh, it just happened to be passing through Albuquerque.
Yeah, like that's a real common thing. I'm just rolling through the Kirk.
Does that ever happen?
I don't think, not that I know of. I know I would have never gone there if it wasn't for military school.
Yeah, dude, they had to build a military school to even get people to come and check the joint out, dude.
Mark Maron's from Albuquerque.
Is he really?
Yeah, side note.
That actually doesn't even surprise me.
Yeah.
He seems like a desolate kid from Albuquerque. All right, let's hear the end of this here.
He upped his offer to $300,000, and you know, we're kind of solid on our stance of not taking the money. But damn, Theo, I just want your opinion on this type of situation. We both got a lot of student loans. Yeah, man, let me know. Love the podcast.
Wow. And I didn't mean to cut you off there, bud. I appreciate you calling. Yeah, there was a movie, Indecent Proposal, and that was a billionaire offers $1 million to a young married couple for one night with the wife. So this guy, I mean, so I guess that's happening. Talking about, this sounds very Saudi Arabian to me.
Yeah, like a prince.
Did you feel that?
Not till you just said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally.
And that might be racism by me, but when I first heard this, I was like, oh, I know who's the kind of guy that's doing this. Like, I see it out here a lot.
Yeah, it's like a Middle Eastern prince.
Yes. Because, I mean, that's a lot of money, too. $300,000?
They message Instagram models. I met an Instagram model, and she's like, yeah, I get messages from princes all the time trying to fly me out there.
Really? Yeah. But, I mean, 300, that's a lot.
I give him props for turning that down. That'd be hard to turn down, especially, like he said, he didn't have a lot of money. He has student debt.
Yeah,
he must really love that girl. So I hope they're still together and doing good. That's cool.
Well, look, I appreciate you calling in, but this is a cool. I don't want to say it's cool. I mean, it's a story. It's a real thing. I mean, I was at the Comedy Store last night, and there's this guy. I could see at the end. The guy wanted to take a photo with me as I'm leaving. Right, just it doesn't happen to me all the time. Happens to me sometimes. There, I just been on stage. Blah blah blah. So I'm doing that, and I can tell that the girl he's with, like, they don't know each other that well. There's just this vibe. Like, what's kind of the situation here, And then I could see it's one of these sugar models or, these websites where you pay a couple $100, you take the girl out for the night. Sex isn't guaranteed. It could happen. There might be more to it. And, man, there's a lot of girls out here caught up in that business.
Yeah. It's a tough town, man.
It's a tough town, but also, like, I mean, I could be out there sucking dick, I'm an 8. I'm an 8 with a decent, future possible.
It's getting better each week.
I got the mullet. Yeah. My mullet is about to be in the front of my head. People don't realize the magic. I'm going to look like a lion.
You already do, man.
Even if the middle falls out, I'm still going to have this beautiful front row right here. But, these are people's daughters out here doing this.
I don't know what it is that causes. These girls are, I think, mostly broken women. They're coming to LA, maybe pursuing modeling or acting. They want the easy ride.
Yeah, they're lazy.
And until that easy jackpot hits, they're kind of selling themselves on the internet a little bit. And it's tough. It's tough to judge them for it, but I don't. It's hard to respect someone fully when they do that sort of business.
I worry about some women getting confused by empowerment. They're like, okay, I'm supposed to be empowered. I'm supposed to control my body and own it. So therefore, if I'm selling my own body, then that's just me being in control. It's like the same thing a guy would do.
Yeah.
A guy would go bang women for money, of course. I'm just wondering, like, what the psyche is behind some of this.
Yeah, it's tough. But I couldn't. For me, I thought about that. I was thinking about that, and I was like, if someone offered me $1,000 to have sex with her, I don't even think I could do it unless she was hot. But if she was hot, she wouldn't be offering me that kind of money. The type of person, the type of guys that are on that site are not good-looking guys. They're gross guys. So it's like,
what would you do if you're this kid?
It depends on how much you love the girl, I guess. If it's a new relationship, $150,000, if you could walk away with that, that's saying they split it 50-50. I don't know what their arrangement would have been when they discussed it. Would she get more than 50 because she's doing most of the work?
That's a good question.
I don't know. But let's say it's 50-50. For $150,000, I would have to really love the girl not to want to do that. I think I'd have to really care about her. And it sounds like he did. It sounds like that was a serious relationship. So I give him props for being able to say no to that kind of money.
Yeah.
Because you could do a lot with $150,000 or $300,000. So, but yeah, me personally, I would take the money.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a wild call, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's a wild call. We're going to get into a few of the rest of them in just a second. We're going to say bye to Ari Manis.
See you guys. Thanks for having me on, Theo.
Yeah, man. Will you come back next week maybe and help with the news? Let's see what people think.
Yeah. Let's see what happens after this week.
And I appreciate you putting it out there a little bit. I know it's, I appreciate you coming kind of on not enemy territory, but
Yeah,
unfamiliar. I appreciate you coming on unfamiliar territory.
I appreciate it, and yeah, it's a little scary, but I think you got to overcome your fears and keep grinding.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're trying. That's life. We're trying. All right, Ari was here, and now he's gone. Let's continue with the rest of this past weekend. Onward.
Hey Theo, this is JJ calling from Sacktown, Mactown, you know.
JJ calling from Sacramento. I appreciate your call, man. Sacramento, where everybody looks like a missing person. I don't know if you ever spent time up in Sacramento, but everybody looks like they're missing. Onward.
Anyways, bro, I love your podcast, man. Definitely probably my favorite comedian at the moment. But I had a question, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Like, I'm coming off of a pretty long heroin stretch, so I'm in detoxing and just trying to live that clean life. You know what I mean? But I know part of recovery, you got to keep your mind occupied and all that. So my question to you is, what are your like favorite hobbies to do? Like, what's something cool that you can do, you know, by yourself or with some friends, or you know, just something like that, man? I mean, I'm just kind of trying to find something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I appreciate your calling, man, and I appreciate your aim to battle your addictions. That's awesome. That's really awesome, man. It's brave. You know, that's brave stuff, son. And you out there in them bravery streets, JJ. And I respect that more than you know. You know, I just watched a movie the other day called Bill W. And it's the older one. There's an older one. It's like a documentary. If you get a chance, it's on Amazon. It's only $3 to rent it. And I bet you would like it, JJ. It's about the AA program and just everything that how it all started and stuff. It's interesting. It's inspiring to me. Brought a tear to my eye a few times. But let me tell you this, man. Things that I do, I thought about this. And this may sound, you know, gay or not gay or chill or whatever. I don't know, dude. But right now, I'm kind of on a little bit of a kick of trying to learn why I feel like I do, you know? Because a lot of my life, I start finding I just get in habits. My life's the same. It's mundane. It's, you know, it's the same thing a lot. Even my life, even though it might seem interesting to some people, you know, it's a lot of the same stuff. So I start to try and read about why I behave the way I do, or if there's something wrong with me, you know, or there's something I'm not doing well at. I want to learn why. How can I do better? And why do I feel the way I do? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I've spent so long detached from my feelings that, you know, feelings for me are brand new. So right now, I'm really trying to figure out when I feel anything, like a real feeling, not just like something short or quick or anger or happiness. Those sometimes can be real fleeting. But other feelings, I try and really feel them and figure out what they are. Outside of that, man, my hobbies, taking a walk, doing yoga, getting little surgeries, bruh. You know, I got that lion mane coming in the front. But sometimes my hobbies are just like not laying in bed. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be in bed and my head will start going. And before I know it, I've been in bed 5 minutes just worrying or pondering or angry. And I haven't even done anything. I don't even know what my day's like. So my thing is now, I do not lay in bed. If I'm up and I know I'm not going back to sleep, I'm up. Because good things are going to happen when I'm happening. You know, you can't think your way into positive actions, but you can act your way into positive thinking. So the second I get moving, good things happen. But other small things I see friends do, man, reading. If you get back to reading, it has a lot of peace in your life. Taking a walk, like taking a walk with your eyes open, not on your phone, really just, you know, we're such creatures that are supposed to move, and we forget about that, especially this society today. You know, we're all caught up. But yeah, little things like that, trying to be there for others, reaching out to other people. I know these are weird hobbies, dude, but I'm on this, that's the kick I'm on right now, JJ. So those are some of my hobbies, you know. What else? But yoga I really like. The first 3 times you go to yoga, you're going to fucking hate it, dude. You're going to want to saw somebody in half, bro. Not even with a saw, dude. With something that's not a saw. But that 4th time, you're going to start feeling that, you're going to start feeling free a little bit in your body. And your body's going to feel in control. So, but yeah, small surgeries, spending time with other people. What else? I enjoy talking to my brother. These are weirdest hobbies, dude, but I'm a weird dude. You know, so those are some of my hobbies, I guess. But I don't do too much outside of work and do comedy. And I feel like my job is a hobby. So it's tough sometimes when work is a hobby. But that's what I do, man. And I applaud you, dude, and I love you, and I appreciate you calling in, man, and even thinking about what else, other people are doing, because by asking other people questions and learning from other people and just taking suggestions or even just listening, man, it's going to help you so much in your detox and in the next levels of dealing with whatever little demons you got, and those demons might be big, man, but don't let them be big, Keep your demons small, dude. You got a big life ahead of you. All right, let's move on to this next call. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, I'm calling because I don't have anybody to talk to, and it feels pretty bad. I got a question, though. Everybody, they go through things like relationship, and, I went through one of those, and I'm out of it, and I just feel really sad. I just don't know how to get back to me again. I remember being fun and single me, and now all I have is lonely me, and, he's not a good person to hang out with. I don't like him very much.
Okay, so you don't like being with yourself when you're lonely. You notice a difference onward?
And I know everyone's gone through that. You probably have. What did you do, or what would you say to somebody who has lost their way, as it were? Thank you, Theo. I appreciate, you being here for me.
Oh, man, look, I'm being here for you, but, I don't have advice. But I'm happy to share with you how I felt, man, when I was, when I got broken up with, you want me to be really honest with you guys, man? I turned into a baby, bruh. When I got broken up with in the past, dude, when I wasn't in control of my feelings, when I didn't know who I was, when I was just, I was obsessed with my girlfriends, but not really in love with them. I thought I was in love with them, but I couldn't even tell the difference between love and obsession and just desire, sexual desire. I couldn't even tell the difference between some of that. Man, one time my girlfriend broke up with me, I put Nair in her shampoo. And she had a roommate that lost a sideburn from it, and that girl was a little bit turned at the time. So whatever, and that's out of legal. That's been 8 years. So no legalities. Everybody, good. What else after that? What else happened after that when I got out of a relationship? One time, dude, the girl I was seeing, she took French class. I started learning French, dude. I spent a whole summer learning fucking French, dude. I got to her place, and that's the girl I met in South Carolina, and I was, petting her neighbor's cat or somebody's cat. I turned into a stalker. I was over at her place in the middle of the night petting somebody's cat, and I just hitchhiked to get to South Carolina. I'd never been in the state before. I got there at midnight, and I'm petting a cat on the address where I know she'd been getting mail. So that's not healthy. And practicing my French in my head for how I was going to romance her in French. Dude, can you imagine if she'd opened her door? Here's a boyfriend that she hasn't seen in 3 months, who's probably been, sending her like 6 and 7 page love letters. Suddenly this dude is on her porch petting a cat that she may or may not even know, because I don't think she owned a cat. So this is going to be somebody else's cat that I would be holding when she opened the door. And that I'm going to be trying to just probably stutter in French how much I loved her. That's going to jail. That is going to jail. That's GTJ behavior right there. That's going to jail. So that's how I behave. So I'll tell you this, man, don't be a pussy. And I hate to say that word, I know people like hearing about it. Don't be it. If that relationship's over, sometimes we romanticize the old you, the fun you. Really? Was that who you were? Or what was maybe you were. I'm not saying you weren't, but just don't romanticize things. That relationship didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to work out. I hate to tell you that. It might work out in the future. It's not working out now. So what are you going to do? That's the facts, man. But if you're really struggling with your feelings and you're not feeling great, pick up a hobby. Get you a box of popsicles, dog. Go to an Al-Anon meeting. Listen to other people share about their feelings, how they're feeling. Al-Anon's a great place. If you're not an alcoholic or something, but you lost in your feelings, go there. People sharing. and you'll learn a little bit about feelings in there. But I mean, I wish you weren't going through this pain, but that's what I did. I smoked menthol cigarettes and laid on a swing set for a summer. Wasted a whole summer of my life. Another time, my ex-girlfriend broke up with me. I drove across country, showed up at her place in the middle of the night to win her back. You know, and I wasn't tripping. I mean, I was a little bit in hindsight, but I mean, I thought I really loved her, you know, and I probably, and I did, and maybe still do in some ways, but, you know, what did I do? I freaked out when I felt bad, when I felt sad. I put narratives. I mean, look, man, I wasn't making good choices. What do I do now? You know, I've been, you know, spending time with the girl, and we have some tough times because of situations that I'm dealing with, and, you know, what do I do now? I don't lay in bed. I don't lay in bed and think about it, man. You know, I keep moving, and when she pops into my head, you know, I get through the feelings. I breathe, I meditate, I get through the feelings, you know, and if that's what's going on, you know, but just do grown-up stuff. Don't let stuff just happen to you. Do stuff. If you sit there and let stuff happen, your feelings are going to take over. You're going to feel bad, man, you know, but if you do stuff, you take action, you can feel not as bad. And you probably don't deserve to feel as bad, man. You sound like a good dude who deserves somebody that loves him. You'll get that. I promise you, bruh. You know, you got big lovers out there coming at you. You know, you might have a dude hit you up on Snapchat for a couple $100 just to visit that ass, you know? So keep your options open, man. You know, but stay up, man. Don't stay down. Don't stay down. I know that's vague and shit, but you know what I'm saying, man. You're better than that. You'll be okay, bro. Love you, all right? Be good to yourself, son. Fucking hug yourself and go jerk off somewhere. You know, if you got to jerk off one time, don't get addicted to it, but, you know, sneak out in the woods or something. Jerk off. Connect with your manhood. Bring a whip out there. Tell your friend to beat you with a whip. You know, buddy of mine, when he would get feeling kind of squirrely and girly, sometimes his buddy would beat him with a fucking whip in their basement. And he's a straight up G, man. So you'll be okay, bud. Sorry, I'm in a weird mood. All right, let's go to the next call.
Soaking in the sunshine here in Indiana, Theo. This is Bobby.
Indiana, home of the Ku Klux Klan. Just bringing that up. Just don't want that blamed on the South anymore. Onward.
And we've got a little issue. I'm calling from Muncie, Indiana. The situation is...
Muncie. Beautiful name I've always thought for a baby. For a newborn baby, Muncie. Look at Muncie. I got a friend named Mutsy, and he got one eye. Onward.
Is my neighbors. I've got several characters in the neighborhood, but there's one in particular, one couple in particular that have an interesting thing going on. So,
okay, what is it, brother? What you got?
I moved into town to start my graduate degree about 4 months ago, and these fuckers have had a continuous yard sale that spans their entire property, which is probably...
Oh, that's ball mart, dude. That's people that straight up ball mart. People that just straight up ball out in their yard, dude. We had somebody like that. That's ball mart. Everything's for sale, always. Anything. Something gets thrown in the yard out of a fucking window, that's for sale too. Everything. Let's hear more.
Probably half an acre or something. So they've got this yard sale, this perpetual yard sale going on, and I'm not really sure how to approach it. They're not violating any policies or laws that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
And I have walked over a time or two, and I've actually bought a few items, one of which was a motorcycle helmet. I also picked up a fur coat and a football jersey. So,
damn, dude. I love it. I love the whole scenario. What do you do there? I mean, I think here's what I would do. I'd make a deal with them. For $500, I'd buy everything in that fucking yard, right? And then I'd put it all over in a corner and I'd burn it all. But the deal was contingent upon the fact that they don't sell anything else ever. If not, then you guys got to get a neighborhood group together, like an HOA type of thing, and see if you can shut them down, or just embrace it. You know, embrace it. Next time you got neighbors coming over, take them over there to shop first thing. You know, sometimes it's like things aren't that bad if we just embrace them. But sometimes neighbors need to act a little more neighborly. My step-parents live next door to this family, dude. They got 11 or 12, 13 fucking children. You know, half of them's running around like damn Frankensteins. Some of them have children. They're running in and out of the house. They always have a million cars parked in the yard. They're not bad people, you know. I don't think the dad works, and I mean, but they're not good neighbors. That's for damn sure, you know. And they had one time, they had a kid, a 3-year-old. My stepdad, somebody's by the door. He sees somebody out by the front door. He opens the door. They got a 3-year-old out there standing out in it, like by the yard, like right by the front door, like by the walkway. And my stepdad's like, "What's going on?" And it's 3 years old. This kid, he goes, I'm just gonna go walk to the Dollar General and get me something. Do you know which way it is to the Dollar General? My stepdad just took him back to his house. Kid's 3 years old, you know, and that's the type of family that's over there. And he was making signs and shit for a little while. We'd stay up at night just hammering on signs like he was damn living in Santa's workshop or something, the daddy or something. I don't fucking know. People are out of their minds. People need to learn how to be good neighbors, though. That's for sure. And you can write them a note. You can start straight up war with them if you want. You know, but if you're not willing to go there and you want to live in that contention, if you don't want to go there and live in that contention and be at war with them, which could be fun too. That could be fun. But if not, then you need to come to some peace with it. You know, see if you could buy everything one time and then never do it again. Or see ask them, when does the yard sale end? Or when you have guests over, take them shopping first. You know, just embrace it. Those are things I would recommend, dude. That's fucking gangster. You got a fur coat out of a neighbor's yard, bruh? Dude, we had this fur coat and these other dogs in the neighborhood would come by and fuck it sometimes, man. And then some of them would double team it too, dude. These two, honestly, bruh, these two black dogs, I think they were Rottweilers. Anyhow, onward. I'm taking one more call, man, and then I'll see what's going on. Let's hear it.
Hey Theo, what's up? My name is Vince, calling from Tampa.
Big V and Big T, Vince in Tampa, man. You sound like somebody that could have worked at a strip club. Onward. But then, of course, everybody in Tampa does.
I just had a little bit of a story for you. Based on an experience I had when I was 16 years old with my first blowjob.
Ooh, this is always enticing, man. I love to hear about people's first experiences. So let's go, Vince.
I was bowling with my buddies at the bowling alley, and I knocked some pins down. Turns out I had the old 7-10 split.
That 7-10 split, man. That's what they used to call this dude in our neighborhood who he had one tooth right there and one tooth right there. He had that Michael Strahan. He had that 7-10. Onward.
And I was bowling with one of the hottest girls in high school, and she comes up to me and she says, "Hey man, if you hit this 7-10 split, I'll give you a blowjob in the car afterwards."
Really? I don't find this impossible to believe, but what kind of girl does that if you hit this? What girl even knows what a 7-10 split is in high school, Vince? I mean, think about that. Some girl, like, if you come up and hit this, I'll give you a blowjob. Dude, I'm going to listen to this a little bit more, but I'm uncertain about you here, Vince. Onward.
Hey, Theo. Hey, Theo. I was bowling with one of the hottest girls in high school, and she comes up to me and split. I'll give you a blowjob in the car afterwards.
Onward.
Bro, I never hit a 7-10 split in my life. And I'll be damned if my little penis tip didn't twinkle and I hit that 7-10 split. I never hit a 7-10 split in my life, bro. Anyways, man, she ended up hooking me up in the car, and that was my first blowjob ever. I remember I felt like I went into a little bit of shock, dude. It was like my hands and my arms and everything went a little bit numb.
Oh, that's blowjob atrophy, dude. We had a buddy like that in junior high. He got himself some early blowjobs. And if you get early blowjobs, a lot of times your body's not used to it. You can have adverse reactions even to, sexual activity. And he couldn't even move after he get a blowjob. So literally you could tell if he'd gotten some, his buddies would be carrying him around, or they would be, they'd even have, I remember one time after prom, they had him in a wheelchair. And that's, that happens. Sometimes people can't handle the sexual activity they're getting at young ages. And they will, and this dude, they put him in his two buddies would carry him because he was kind of a little bit of a strong in the legs. He had some rings in his woodwork, if you know what I'm saying. He had some, his legs had a lot of atoms in them. He was, a lot of neutrons and protons. Anyway, he was thick. That's what I'm saying. He had volume. He had mass. He had all of those. And so he would get that blowjob and he couldn't move very well. He'd get that atrophy in his muscles and stuff, and his buddies have to carry him around. And that happens too. Sometimes you get that, you take these Viagras, these Cialises. I take that Canadian Viagra, makes my legs sweat. And I have a buddy that used to take it. He couldn't bend his legs if he was on Viagra. So he could do some sex, but he had to just lay down, or just lean in one time really good. And so everybody has different things that happen to them with sex, man. But the 7-10 split story, I find it hard to believe, but I love I love a first-time story, so I appreciate you calling in. And also, I think you were a first-time caller, so I respect that. We had a lot of great calls. I'm going to get to some more of them. I don't know if I'm going to get to them tonight. I don't know when I'm going to get to them. But if you have a call, if you have a response to something we've talked about on the episode today, if you have a thought on the take a knee, if you had a thought on the take a knee, man, I would love to hear more about it. You can hit the hotline and drop that call off. If you have had an experience where your girlfriend or significant other you guys have agreed that they could sleep with somebody else for money or not for money, just for recreational purposes, and how that played out. I'd love to know more about that. So you can hit the hotline for anything, 985-664-9503. But those are two things that I would love specifically to know about. If you have experience with those, to call in about them. If you've had a spouse spend time or a girlfriend or boyfriend spend time with somebody else that you agreed on for money or for not, and how that played out afterwards. And also, if what you think on the take a knee. You think that's legit, that's cool, that's whatever. You think, how many times is this going to happen? How, what's the solution what's the racial solution, or whatever your thoughts are. Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to know them. And I'm going to take us out here. Thank you guys again for supporting the podcast. You can hit up the Patreon. We got the Dollar Shave Club out there. Everything's going okay. I appreciate the support. I want to thank Ari Manis for being here. You can follow him on Twitter and on Instagram at Ari Manis. There's no hard feelings between me and Ari as we figure this out. I appreciate you guys calling in and voicing your thoughts and your opinions. They're always welcome here. Always welcome here. And we're trying to heat them. I'm trying to figure things out, I don't want to just kick Ari by the wayside because we agreed that we would try it for a few weeks and see how it goes. So, we'll figure it out after this week and see if it's worth trying for another week or not. We tried to reframe it a little. Or I tried to reframe it a little bit. But thank you for checking out this past weekend. Subscribe. Tell your friends. I love you. I will be in Huntsville, Alabama, November 14th through the 16th at the Stand Up Live. Ari will be in La Jolla at the La Jolla Comedy Store. And that is the first weekend, I believe, in November. It's either the first or second weekend. So you can check out when he'll be there, the 3rd and 4th or the 10th and 11th. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'll talk to you soon. Let's go out. Spencer Jacob Grau Band with Celebrate. And if you have some ideas for new music or intro theme or something and you want to let me know, you can hit me up at theovon@mac.com. I'm always interested in having a variety.
Celebrate living. Celebrate.
And go out there and stand on what you believe in, man. If you're tired of certain things, people get tired and speak up about it. Everybody has a voice, and we got to use them. If you're tired of companies, making shitty stuff, quit supporting shitty stuff. When you change where your money goes, that's when things change. So put your money towards things that you care about. Research the companies. Research who's doing what. Know who you're giving your money to, because that's how things change. And poor people got to stick together, man. I tell you. Onward. You guys be good to yourselves, man. I bet you deserve it, man. I'm going to try.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jonathan Kite, and welcome to Kite Club, a podcast where I'll be sharing thoughts on things like current events, stand-up stories, and 7 ways to pleasure your partner. The answer may shock you. Sometimes I'll interview my friends. Sometimes I won't. And as always, I'll be joined by the voices in my head.
You have 3 new voice messages.
A lot of people are talking about Kite Club. I've been talking about Kite Club for so long, longer than anybody else. So great.
Hey, sweetheart, here's it Theo. Anyone who doesn't listen to Kite Club is a dodgy bloody wanker. Do you know what I mean?
Hi, I'll take a quarter pounder with cheese and a McFlurry.
Sorry, sir, but our ice cream machine is broken.
No!
I think Tom Hanks just butt-dialed me. Anyway, first rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Second rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Third rule, like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts or watch us on YouTube, yeah? And yes, don't worry, my Brad Pitt impression will get better.